the speed at which I'm moving to get ready right now is absolutely silly. I just need you guys to understand that. I am trying so hard to get everything going. My goodness. Okay, I think we're good. All right. Also, just realized my desktop audio is still on. Does that mean that I had background sounds at all, or was it just my normal intro music? Just so I know, because then I'm gonna have to edit it later. I was rushing. I was rushing very, very aggressively to get everything done. I was doing my best, I swear. I was doing my best, I swear. Just heard music, I think. Love to see it. Okay, cool. Archon uses speed setup. Yeah. Hi, Lark. We hear intro. Good. That's all I wanted you guys to hear. No, I was at we were at doctor's appointment, and while at doctor's appointment, the baby decided this was the time. This was her time to shine, and she went full nurgling and destroyed her diaper, destroyed her onesie, and basically destroyed her car seat. So, it was a bit of a half-hour delay. It was a bit of a half-hour delay, of just changing out her clothes. And this is the reason why they tell you always have a go bag when you're out with a baby, because we had to change her. We had to give her a whole new outfit. We actually threw out her previous onesie, which was sad because it was a very cute onesie. So we threw that out. And then I had to sit and scrub the car seat with what was available in the doctor's office, which was just like alcohol. So I scrubbed the car seat. And then on the ride back, she went to the bathroom again. She went again. It was the grandma. Yeah, I was gonna say she went full nurgling again. Little gremlin that she is, little stinker. What else? Oh, so for anybody who was not around yesterday on Twitch, we had another collab with Pancreas. It was a lot of fun. I love playing games with him. He is such a lovely human being. We finished ODST, and hopefully, if I have time today, that video will be edited and posted today on the YouTube, maybe a little bit later tonight. Those are usually extra videos that I post. We also got to play a little bit of Age of Mythology, and we'll hopefully be playing some more in the future. Who's a good little agent of the grandma? Funny. A true champion of Nurgle? She is. She is a true champion of Nurgle. I can't with you guys. Tetra is an amazing, Tetrius is an amazing me and Pank. I love him! Colin's wonderful. He's such a lovely guy. He's so much fun to yap with. And it was really fun traumatizing his community with my stories from Ark. I enjoy that. I enjoy that more than I should. The only thing, actually, everything about today's been really, really lovely. I missed Age of Mythology. Oh, we got destroyed. Oh my god. Colin, Pancreas and I were really, really, like, raring to go. We're like, oh yeah, let's put it on the 3rd difficulty. There's 6 difficulties. 3's gonna be easy. We go into it. We get destroyed. We get bent over. It was horrible. It was vicious. Man, the computers were just so mean. I don't do Twitch, but I caught the back half of Pancreas on YouTube. Looks like you had oodles of fun. Yeah, if you saw it on, you saw on Pancreas's channel. Yeah. Well, I'll have the full video up. Probably tonight. A little bit of editing that needs to be done, a little bit of downloading, a little bit of quirky stuff, but, you know, other than that, it's all good. I also sent some stuff to my editor to get some more shorts going. I also posted a short that was a little bit triggering to my, what the hell's this thing on? Okay, I was confused by what that was. Also, I made a short that was triggering to my Warhammer audience. Seems like you're having a nice Friday the 13th. Yeah, I'm currently almost to Emerald on TFT. You were doomed like 7 minutes in. It was brutal. Oh, we were so cooked. We were so cooked so quickly. Yeah, we were slab silly. What gods did you play? I played Gaia. Pancras played Hades. The PC gave you time to recover and rebuild from the attacks just to kick your sandcastles over again. They were not nice. The AI has always been mean, but the AI was like especially mean. Especially mean. But yeah, no, what I'm gonna try doing is I have a travel laptop that I use for when I stream, like when I'm traveling out of the country. When I do that, I'm probably gonna use that laptop and try to put mythology on it so I can have it while I'm watching the baby. I can't believe Tetris dragged me into platinum. Yeah, and all my mods are going to be required to get to platinum in TFT now. Because the way that it works is you're only allowed to play with up to 1 rank below you when you start getting higher up in ranks. And I made all my mods go to gold because I got to platinum. And now I'm about to get to emerald, so all my mods are going to have to get to plat. Just curious, have you been able to check out any of the audiobooks yet? I got the headphones, Soul! I got the headphones! So now I'll be able to actually listen to my Caiaphas Cain book. The headphones came earlier this week. Have that, girl, I ain't touching that. What do you mean? Pen. You gotta get to platinum on TFT, come on. I was always an Age of Empires player. I played Age of Empires 3 a lot. I know 2 is the one that everybody loves. 3 is the one that always holds a special place in my heart. I played a lot of 4. I played a little bit of 2, but 3 is always the one that's really special to me. But mythology is the game for me. Do the colors of the usernames have meaning? Do you mean on YouTube? I believe blue is moderator, green is member. Pretty sure that's how that works. Book club, maybe? How would I even do a book club? Be like, yeah, we're all gonna listen to Caiaphas Cain, Hero of the Imperium together. There was a last stand to kill the dragon and nothing else. The thing is that if I do a book club, it would just be positive. It'd be like, this is fun. I like this, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to be pretentious and be like, yes, well, I don't think that the writing here stands up to my standards of what I expect of great writers for Games Workshop. My poor Dark... Your Dark Prince is fine. Literally, he just took a little bit of finger damage. The Bellicor short made me scream at the end. No hate, though. It's fine. Literally, it's completely fine. The banana got more damage than him. He got like I said this on Twitch, and Lurk rolls his eyes and dies over the statement, but he got a banana money shot. So like he obliterated the banana. Yeah, and all he lost from being hit with it at full force, being smashed into the refrigerator and smashing into the hardwood floor, he just lost a finger. My kitten's meowing in the background. There's a lot of cool moments you could talk about. Oh, talk about the book for a stream. I could, but the thing is that I don't really think that it would resonate with a large part of my community. Whenever I do something that deviates from, so you guys have to understand, especially with YouTube, Twitch I have more leeway, but when it comes to YouTube, I'm kind of locked into a formula. Whenever I do things that branch out, because I do like 1 video a week that is not reaction based, and they usually get dumpstered. They get dumpstered very, very aggressively. So, for example, this week I released the first, or the end of last week, I released the first half of the Pancreas collab. And it's actually doing surprisingly well, despite the fact that it's, throttled comparatively, because my viewers don't get notified about videos like that. But it's operating maybe about 30%, 30 or 25 to 30% of normal viewership. But like my Nuzlocke video, which I think is great content and a lot of fun, is operating at like less than 10% normal viewership. And stuff like my modding videos have even less than that, like 5%. They're quite bad. But no, he hasn't lost his aura. He is the strongest mini ever. He lost no aura. He has a battle wound that he survived. He survived something no other mini should. I just saw the short. Yeah, that was a full force banana hitting him. I've been watching your videos a lot this week, so I'm glad I managed to catch a stream. Well, welcome in, Pibble. The banana invisible in the clip for like 3 frames. Yeah, I didn't realize just how hard I threw the banana. Like, I threw the banana so hard that you don't even see it. Most people who watch the clip do not even know that it's a banana. I love watching that video, but I did see it having a tough time at the beginning. Oh, with the Nuzlocke? Oh, God. Look, Nuzlocke Part 2 is eventually going to come out, and it gets so much worse. It gets so much worse. Korn empowered him because he was in active combat? Yeah. That mini is made out of melted Nokia? It is true. I guess he got off his parry. He had a perfect parry. You're right. You're right. That's what everybody thought. Everybody thought that I just backhanded this thing. No, I literally, I did a full wind up and a pitch. Full force banana into him, and the banana got fucking obliterated. The banana got obliterated. I actually have a short recording afterwards that I was tempted to put in the short, like have it cut to black, and then cut to this, be like, yeah, I was gonna end here, but I'm scared of what this thing is made out of. But I ended up not doing it because I was getting tired and I didn't want to spend any more time on the short. Rolled a 6 for the ward save. I don't know D&D terminology. I know critical failure and critical success, and that's probably the extent of it. Just because my entire D&D exposure are two things. You guys will think that I'm the worst kind of normie. I'm exposed to D&D through Baldur's Gate 3. And I'm exposed to it through Doug's campaigns where he lets chat influence decisions for his AI D&D campaigns. That's like those are the only it's AOS terminology. Well, even less of a reason to know it. I know absolutely nothing of Age of Sigmar. I know absolutely nothing of Age of Sigmar. None. Zero. Absolutely zero. The extent of my fantasy is of me understanding fantasy Warhammer is what, like 2 weeks, and then 40k is 3 months. So like that's why I talk with Pancreas. I'm like, Pancreas, you know that like if I'm saying something off hinge, you can tell me if I'm being an idiot because like you know a hell of a lot more than me. Ward saves are Age of Sigmar represent a special save that most demons have that bypasses armor penetration. The 40 equivalent is an invulnerability save. Yeah, see, like I don't know anything about the card game, the tabletop at all. The tabletop is so foreign to me. It's crazy. She her, I go by she her. You know who has a video on the AOS faction? Is it Pancreas? We're watching one of his videos today. I saw the really stupid one, and I'm like, I need to watch this. Especially because we were talking... So, like, funny story. The first collab that we had, we were talking about General Grievous, and I didn't understand why Grievous was up in chat and, like, why we were talking about it. You can see it in the video, where it just comes up randomly, and he's talking about General Grievous, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I love Grievous. He's cool. And it just happens out of nowhere. And then I look, and there's a whole video that he released about, like, which Primarchs can fight Grievous, and I'm like... Son of a gun. This is what he was talking about. Son of a gun. Oh, I hear the little BB. I'm gonna go check on her real quick. Give me 1 second. Okay, all right, I am back. Hello, hello, hello. I registered time, always, as always, an hour before we start. Oh yeah, of course. So yeah, no, she's good. She was not having a fun time on the changing table. I started reading, but after catching this, wait, what did I miss? Why are we calling Alan a smoothie? Wait, what? What did I miss? What am I missing? Huh? I don't know if you should do a reaction of it completely, but Warhammer's a video where they show, in my opinion, the best of the minis of each AOS. Okay, so when I talk about this stuff, I always try to be very, very honest. Age of Sigmar is very, very, very low interaction. There's very, very low interaction if I do reaction content to it. When I do reaction content, it has to be a balance of things that I enjoy as well as things that are viable. Age of Sigmar is not really it. Commissar reporting for duty. Hello, Commissar. How are you? I watched a VTuber clip once, and now I'm deep in the obscure VTuber rabbit hole. Where do I find the time to watch all of it? Who knows? Who knows? You know, speaking of obscure, you know, with all the takes that I've unloaded on stream, both good, bad, in the middle, the one that seems to have caused everybody to die on a hill is about Nutella. I have never seen more people develop like insanely strong opinions to the point of being annoying. You know, than I have with Nutella. Like, my Nutella take is not that crazy, as I can see a lot of people in the comments also agree about Nutella. But like, man, people who like Nutella, dude, Nutella's not gonna sleep with you. Like Nutella's not gonna conceive your child. I'm sorry to tell you, like, Nutella is not gonna make you their favorite big boy. So like, I don't know why you are dying on the hill for a spread. It doesn't have feelings. Candy alert. Dude, the comments that I got were like 90% of them were like, it's okay to be wrong. And that's fine. Like, there's humor in that. It just got annoying because it was the same comment, like, regurgitated over and over again. But then somebody wrote me a book. Somebody wrote me a book trying to argue the complexity of saying what overrated means, and it's completely subjective, so they're just completely a head ass. If you're watching right now, all due respect, you're a head ass. And then they started going off about, like, they actually started reading off the ingredients of Nutella because I called it palm oil and hazelnut. Or palm oil and cocoa. But, like, man, I am Nutella. I hope you are. Did you know Nutella was an Dude, I never thought that Nutella would be something that would piss me off so much on live streaming. Like, what on earth? I literally said Nutella is mid and I don't like it. Like, I guess I said it as a reaction, right? Like, so like, in the reactionary way, I'm like, oh, damn, don't put Nutella in it. Nutella sucks. But like, oh my God. And I know I put myself open to content, right? That's why I'm a content creator. But like, man, like, I want chat. I want you guys to understand something, and to everybody who watches this video afterwards, because this won't be in the actual videos. It'll only be in the live stream part. If you watch live streams, okay, whatever. You wonder why most larger creators do not read a single one of your comments. This is the reason. I still meticulously read through all of my comments and roll my eyes and slowly kill my brain cells. Like, it is incredible. I want you guys to comment. I like interaction. I like reading through your comments. Don't write me a goddamn book about the complexity of what the term overrated means and about what the ingredients of Nutella are. Never had it, so it occupies a blank space in my reserve mind for shits and giggles. The thing that annoys me is it feels like 99% of comments don't actually know the ingredient percentages of what's in it. I had to respond to one comment that said it was majority hazel. Oh, I know that one. I saw that actually. I had another person that was one of those lovely British nationalists who always need to just comment because it's, you know, American. So whenever something's American, the British people need to say something. Look, I have plenty of problems with my country, but like, nothing makes me more of a patriot than when I have like British people being like nose in the air. Did you know, it's probably because, you know, you're an American and your Nutella is full of chemicals. Our country doesn't put any harmful chemicals in our food. It's like, I literally can list out like all the shit that you guys put in your food. You have all the same stuff as us. You have so, like what's the one example? Our Fanta soda has, red 40. Yeah, your country doesn't have red 40. You still have everything else. Nutella is pure diabetes, but it's fine. I don't even care about the Nutella thing. It's such a non-issue. I literally said it in the video like a ton of times where it's like, you can love Nutella. I'm happy for you. I don't. It is not like anything crazy. It's nothing to write home about. I simply don't care for Nutella. Like, I swear, people like I could go through the comments now for you and just read through them, and you will understand just how much people love Nutella. Like, I think Nutella's, but it's fine that you think Nutella's fine. I have a preference for peanut butter. That's it. Really simple. Because I'm 1/4 German and it's from my ancestral homelands or thereabouts, so it's my home to my soul. Wait, what? What? Oh my god. There was one comment. There was one comment that was like, there's no need to spout hate. Like, it was trying to say like I was hurting Nutella's feelings, and I'm like, Nutella does not have feelings. I don't know why we're white knighting for a hazelnut spread. I just don't, like, again, I love all you guys. I do. Sometimes you have some dumb takes, but like, you guys think I have a bad take, sure. But like, when you guys get into a hive mind, like I'm not even joking with you. I am low-key tempted to start banning the term demon quiche. I am low-key tempted to make the term demon quiche a bannable offense because of how much eye rolling it has caused me. It's not that deep, my guy. Leave that billion-dollar company. You leave that billion-dollar company alone, you cat girl on the internet. Nutella is Nutella's a victim. Look, I've already decided that the next short that I'm gonna make is gonna be just me beating the crap out of a jar of Nutella. I'm literally just gonna take a jar of Nutella and throw it in the garbage and make that my next short. Be like, oh, well, you can give it to the poor. The poor don't deserve that. They deserve better. I'll go donate actual food to charity and throw out Nutella. For us, when people sim for companies, it really, it's wild, right? The existence of Vegemite and Marmite is proof that different people have different tastes. I am willing to bet that I will like Vegemite more, and then people are like, oh, well, it makes sense that you like that more, Tetra. Your palate is alien. Like, I don't know how my palate is alien. I eat almost everything. I simply don't like mayonnaise, and I don't like Nutella. And I made a comment saying I'm not a big fan of meatloaf. I don't know how that makes my palate alien. If you thought that today was gonna be me ranting about Nutella, you know, play golf with the Nutella jar, I am gonna put it on. I'm gonna like, get some firecrackers and blow up Nutella. I don't know. I'm gonna come up with like the worst way. That's gonna become a new series. My new short series is ways to destroy Nutella bottles. On a lighter note, I gotta run and take care of some errands, because being a responsible adult is a thing, and apparently, yeah, no, that's true, I hope you have a wonderful time. I just ate a delicious meatloaf sandwich, so, like, I'm not a fan of meatloaf, but, Yura's dad actually made some recently. That was quite good. And I revised my take saying that there can be good meatloaf, but at the end of the day, I'm still gonna take a burger. Right? Like, it's almost the same ingredients, it's almost the same thing. I'm gonna take a burger over meatloaf. How dare you? No, but it's like it's not even like that. I have like a take that's so wild, right? Like, sure, like if I start insulting Vulcan like I do, and I have a bunch of people commenting being like, oh, that's not fair, blah blah blah, and you give me reasons, sure, that's fine. I like, again, it's just a really strong opinion about something that's not necessarily true. It's just my subjective opinion, or objective, whatever. But like, when you get to the extent that it got to with the stupid Nutella stuff, like, there was an entire video. It was an entire video, and 99% of the comments are Nutella. Like, 99% of the comments were Nutella. Like, how does that happen? It's like one moment of a video. Like, one singular moment. Burger is shit compared to pizza. I mean, I like pizza more, but again, I'm biased because I'm a New Yorker. I made bacon wrapped cheese stuffed meatloaf years ago, and it was bomb. I'm sure. Hello, Dr. Marcus. How are you? One of them should be throwing a banana for scaling Nutella. Look, I'll have somebody in the comments of this thing too, where they'll be like, "Oh, you're whining about comments again. Oh, you're such a crybaby. You give me content." If you here's something you gotta understand. If you write a dumb comment, it is going to be used as content for me, whether or not I'm going to rant about it or not. I will. If you're gonna do that, just like your argument is like, oh well, we're comments and we have free speech, so we can say whatever we want to you. You put yourself out there on the internet, yeah, and I will absolutely use what you say. I will absolutely milk you like cattle if you're gonna be like that. Well, at least it's good getting good. Yeah, absolutely. I don't want you guys to do that. I'm just saying, if it's so be it if you do. When an internet prepared to sacrifice some brain cells? Look, I'm looking at the Dylan video right now, right? It has 123 comments on it right now. I'm gonna go look at the comments and let's see what we have. First two comments are not about Nutella, then immediately Nutella. Next one, Nutella. Next one, Nutella. Next one, peppermint patties. Next one, Tetra has an alien palette. Next one, Nutella. Next one, wow, Dylan is great. Next one, Nutella. Next one, whoa, you dislike Nutella? I hope Yura knows better to teach your child that Nutella is the superior spread. The next one, Nutella. Next one, Speckaloose is a good spread. Cool, don't know what that is. Next one, something about Nebraska. Next one, Nutella. Next one, Nutella. Next one, Nutella. Oh my god. The entire video! Everything's fine. Everything's great. I prefer pastry in my lasagna over meat. Wait, what? You prefer pasta in your lasagna? So that's not inherently bad. It's just that is different. That is outright different. Nothing wrong with it, but different. Look, I have a friend who I have one friend, a dear friend. I love them with all my heart and soul. I have one friend whose food takes I will actually say are alien. Other than that, every food take, to each their own. You eat what you want to eat, right? Sometimes you can be weird and have your own thing, but like, how hard would it be to read the top comment before making your own? Like, oh no, people don't even watch the video before writing comments. The amount of times I have comments of things that are from the video that they didn't even watch is crazy. Ferrero, the company that manufactured, Ferrero Rocher is actually a lot better than Nutella. They made 19.3 billion. They don't need no, they do. They need white knights. They need, we need the chocolate knights. They all, or the cocoa palm oil knights. It'll be its own little faction of Space Marines. There's already pasta. No, I think they put more pasta at Pibble. Isn't that like cheese lasagna? No, maybe they put pasta as the layer in between. Maybe it's pasta with pasta. What's yours food take? That's too broad of a topic. You can't really say, oh, what's a food take? Like, what's your food take? Because that encompasses everything, right? Like, I like fish, right? For me, I like fish. I like steak. I like salads. I like vegetables. I like fruits. I don't like a lot of things that are like, not even a lot of things. I don't like a lot of like viscous spreads. Like I can eat Nutella. I can eat it. But am I gonna put chocolate on a slice of bread? No. Like to me, it's like, why would I do that? If I'm having a slice of bread, to me, it's already going to be something that's supposed to be savory. That to me, again, that's not everybody. That's just to me. If I have a slice of bread, either something like cheese, meat, or like butter is going to go on that, and it's toasted. Like that's what's going to be on that. But like, I'm not going to put chocolate on it. Palm oil Pinkertons, ready to break some kneecaps to get people in line. As a Brit, I'll happily eat beans on toast. So who am I? Okay, so the beans on toast take, right? I understand you guys like it. And it's not that it's bad at its core. I ate it on stream and vomited. But the argument was that the beans that I used were bad. Because I did it live on stream with like full camera and everything. And the beans were gray. Which they're not supposed to be. Now, cream cheese is great. Cream cheese is great. Beans on toast with browns. So here's the thing. I don't mind beans, but when I'm going to have beans, I'd rather it be in Mexican food. Like, if I'm having beans, I want it in, like, a burrito. I don't really like beans on toast. Just because it's just not something for me. The combination is just not for me in general. Not that it's bad. Not that it's bad. Look, I know a lot of... as much as I tease British food, because British food is all in the brown and gray scale. It's fine. There's a lot of British food I actually really like, so don't worry. I just tease. So Tetra, as an authentic Italian, what would you say is your favorite part of carbonara? Heavy cream, the Parmesan, or the bacon? I don't consider myself an authentic Italian. I'm a mutt, right? Like, I'm an Italian American who's also French and Egyptian. So like, I am just an American in that regard. But like, when I think of carbonara, isn't a carbonara supposed to be pancetta? Not bacon? Isn't it not bacon? I'm pretty sure it's pancetta. But I'm always a sucker when it comes to like real Parmigiano Reggiano. Like, I think that makes everything. Beans are evil beans. Literally Doctor Who. Dang, rage bait attempt failed. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. I'll take some cream cheese and some lox on my toast bagel or over anything sweet any day. Yeah, no, me too. Me too. I love lox. Lox is great. If I wanted a slice of bread, that would definitely give me diabetes, and I'd rather make French. Okay, French toast is goated. I mean, I could ask chat the real hard question and the most polarizing thing ever. I should save it for a short, or I should save it once we go live, or once we go into like the actual videos. It will be like the biggest interaction bait humanly possible. I'll just be like, yeah, what is better, and then do X, Y, or Z, and the battle will ensue. Carbonara was invented to feed the U.S. soldiers in Italy in World War II. It used bacon. The original? I always knew the recipe to have pancetta. I would French kiss French toast. You would tongue punch French toast? There's a cafe near me that has tiramisu French toast right now. Speaking of tiramisu, there is a cafe in Tokyo called the Flying Scotsman. And they have a tiramisu fluffy pancake. And it is to die for. That, along with their one of their teas. I forgot what it was. It was like a honey citrus tea. I mean, I had their coffee too. I had an avocado with them, but like their tea was lovely. Did I stutter? No, I suppose you did not. What's better, Nutella, carbonara, beans on toast, or bagels? Out of those, bagels. A New York bagel is better than almost anything. I'm sorry, it's just good. The traditional recipe for carbonara is back to the early 2000s. From early 2000, anybody who's pissy about ingredients in it is a clown. Okay. I fucking love tiramisu. Tiramisu is wonderful. Tiramisu is actually wonderful. Tuna fish and some sauerkraut is the best seafood combo. Okay, but are you talking about like a can of tuna fish and sauerkraut? Because I would not even call that a seafood combo. I mean, technically it is, but that is some heinous stuff right there. That is true struggle meal. Aw, tell your niece thank you. It's very cute. I just stumbled here. Why are you tongue punching French toast? Why not? Are you telling me that you would not tongue punch French toast? Look, we have jumped from, like, me just ripping apart the Nutella commentary and talking about how I'm just going to destroy Nutella any chance I get for an entire series of shorts. And I'm going to waste it. I'm going to waste Nutella. Let there be outrage that I'm wasting some type of food. I'm going to waste Nutella. I always thought the Demon Quiche was a fun little jab. Also, the Demon Quiche was a fun little jab, and it got really annoying because people never dropped it. Like, it was treated like I said, like, the most heinous thing ever. It was so minute, and it just never dropped, and it was like a one trick, and it was so irritating. It was so irritating. I hear New York City's getting rough. In what way? New York City's fine. If anything, I think it's been getting better. We had, like, our least violent month, like, ever. Well, not ever, but, like, in a long time. Was it Demon Quiche? Nothing. It was a take on a Dylan recipe, and it got tiring. I love Nutella. That's okay. I love that you love Nutella. I'm not saying you can't love Nutella. I am just tired of the comments in my comment section about Nutella. You know how some people put a splash of milk into their scrambled eggs? Use a spoonful of plain yogurt or sour cream instead. Better flavor, keeps the eggs moist and higher protein content. I would personally not do that, but all the power to you for doing it. Tetra, did your family do the Feast of 7 Fish for Christmas? No. I thought it was something completely different. Yeah, it's literally nothing. It's literally the biggest nothing burger, which is a thing that happens when you are a content creator. It's always nothing burgers that are like the biggest headache. All right, let's get into the video. Okay, let me get this. I don't even know who is Dylan Hollis. Oh, don't worry about it. Dylan Hollis is great. It's you can watch some of my videos. He is a goober who does food videos. This video will be a fine addition to my collection. Well, I have some good ones. I have some good videos. I'm legitimately debating whether or not I want to cut one of my videos out and do the bare minimum I can today and just be done. And just be like, oh yeah, you know, let's do the vampire video and Dylan and just be like, wash our hands and walk away. That is the minimum I can get away with. Also, to everybody in the community, if you are in the Discord, be sure to post your rooms. The room review will be on Twitch tomorrow. So I will be reviewing everybody's rooms that were submitted. I'm gonna probably bug Poor Pen to make a little document with all of them for me, and I will give you guys ratings. Whether or not I do tier list format or rating format is kind of up in the air, but that'll be tomorrow, so it'll be a lot of fun. I have not seen any of his series of those yet. We're watching some videos of him right now, and then we'll get through those, and then probably go to the other ones where he's going after people. We'll go. The Dolphins say they're leaving. Oh, gotta go to family commitment time, but at least I can catch the app. Have a good stream, Tetra, and chat. Much love. Take it easy, Dolphin. Take it easy. Okay. I'm waiting for my coffee to get here, too.
You know what most people do when they're...
Oh my god, pancreas. Shush. Shush. I can't wait for him to strangle me because I'm not gonna strangle anybody. I'm not gonna be harsh on you guys for having like not perfect rooms. It's okay. I know it sounds crazy, but it's like it's okay. Okay. Did the figs arrive? Maybe? I don't know. Time to get mad? What, at the Primarch video? Nah. How'd the rest of the collab go yesterday? I had to duck out early. It went great. It was amazing. I'll be releasing the video later today if I have time. Did you know that Nutella is an empath? I was unaware that Nutella was in fact an empath. Perhaps Nutella and Angron can go sit and cry in the corner. My room's messy. Oh, that's fine. I will judge it harshly. As long as nobody else has a poop drawer. We don't need them to know about the poop drawer that we saw. Yeah, okay. Actually, no, screw it. Wait. I will let you guys know. There have been two instances. We had somebody who looked like they had a poop drawer in one room, and we had a refrigerator one that actually made me sad. Chad Grievous' cringe daddy issues superhumans. All right, let me get this working. Let me get the rest of the video set up in queue.
This video.
Stop it. Okay, I'm excited for the next one more than anything. And let me get the Dylan video ready. Why, what? Too busy to post my room in the room review? What do you mean? How are you too busy? It's tomorrow. Just go into your room with your phone, snap a picture, and send it into the Discord. Huh. Okay. Get this. Get this. Okay. Think we're good. I think I have all the videos ready to go. First one is 32 minutes, so I assume it's going to take about 50 to get through it. Second one's the big one, it's 52 minutes, so it'll probably take about an hour and 20 minutes. And the last one's 10 minutes. So we're probably going to take about 2.5 hours in total. I'm in my room now. My phone is right in front of me. I'm so... Stop being lazy and submit it! I was going to make a list of people who are too lazy to do shit. I should really join the Discord? You should. It's a shared Discord between me and you. It's a lot of fun. No, please. I need the gray pile of shame in the picture. Come on. I need you to expose the gray... Come on. It's content. I want to see your gray piles of shame. All right. Let's get through the Warhammer video, then Milo, then Dylan, and we're going to call it after that, because then I got to edit. So let's go. Boop. Turn off my music. All right, here we go.
You know what most people do on their birthday?
What?
Go out and celebrate. Have fun with friends and family. You know what I do on my birthday? Play Halo 3 and write glorified fanfiction about characters I like beating up characters I don't like as much. So with the attitude I'm going into...
I'm sorry. The reason I laugh at this is because the conversation that I had with him yesterday was literally about the Smash or Pass Halo edition. And my God, the things that he said involving hunters will never... What he said about hunters will live rent-free in my mind forever. I just want you to know that. It will live in my mind forever.
The slop established General Grievous, the supreme commander of the Separatist military, chief minion of the Sith, though he'd never admit or in some ways even know it, and of course Star Wars' most prolific Jedi killer. I am, to put it lightly, a big fan of the guy. If there's an option to play as the CIS in a Star Wars game, I'm taking it, both because the corrupt Republic must fall and because it means I get to play as the funny cyborg with 4 lightsabers. On the other end, Primarchs. I am, to once again put things lightly, less of a fan. Some of them are pretty cool like Gilliman, some of them are alright like Vulcan, and some of them are Perturabo.
I always feel bad too. Every time I'm with him, I constantly shit talk Vulcan, and I drag him into my lunacy. I'm like, he's boring, he's lame, he's mid.
I sure do hate Perturabo. His kids are cool, though. And because I'm completely out of ideas, for this week's video I'm going to revert to the mindset of an 8-year-old and smash my action figures together until the guy I want to win wins.
Cool.
So let's throw the Emperor's sons into an arena and see who can come out on top against the terror of the Clone Wars. This video will not be fair because I am biased, I will continue to be biased, and
Purdy
I will
is a
not stop
petulant
until I
man-child.
can find a way in which Mr. Grievous here can slaughter his way through 40k's most parentally neglected demigods. But before I begin, tell me, do you have a smoking problem?
No, I do not, and I'm sorry. I love you, Colin. I do, but I'm just gonna quickly do this.
Okay. Now then, time to ensure I have about 20 videos worth of engagement from the comment section. Might as well talk about the Star Goober himself to start us off.
Look at him. He's just a little guy.
I'm not going to explain who General Grievous is because you know who General Grievous is. Be honest here now. If you somehow don't know who he is, what rock have you been living under? And can I join you? But for some cool things he can do, well, I'll talk about that all day long. Grievous can survive in the vacuum of space for some amount of time, which is pretty low-key, honestly, compared to the rest of the shit he does. He's got at least one grappling hook in his arm for improvement.
Oh shit! You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. I forgot Force a Habit. All right, we're going back. We're going back. And now I have to. Oh my god, the amount of editing I'm gonna have to do. Oh, the amount of editing I'm gonna have to do. Oh, the amount of editing I have to do. Ah, you're right. God damn it, Colin. All right, going back here. We gotta watch this whole part again. Oh man. I'm gonna DM him. I'm gonna DM him a middle finger.
Me gods. But
Like,
before I
God
begin,
damn it,
tell
Pancreas.
Me, do you have a smoking problem?
No, I don't have a
Interesting
smoking
segue,
problem.
I know, but if you do, allow me to introduce you to Fume, the sponsor of this video. Smoking's a nasty habit, as anyone who does is no doubt aware. You crave some nicotine, and even if not that, it's just as bad as an idle fixation. You aren't doing anything with your hands or your mouth? Grab a vape. I'm sure anyone who does it has tried.
Somehow I feel like the one, of course, the most recent one's gonna be one that's gonna absolutely demonetize the video. It literally just had a cigarette front and center on the screen. Literally, this is the one where I'm just gonna be like, yeah, okay, we left it in because it's a recent ad, and then it's gonna like,
Tried to quit before, which is all well and good on day 1 until day 3 hits and you're fiending for it. Well, Fume is here to fix that. It's a nicotine-free, vaporless, batteryless little fidget device you fill with the flavor of your choosing to help kick that habit.
How is it a fidget
For me, it's been
device?
legitimately nice. It's helped me
Oh
cut
my
down
god,
on
it's
smoking
actually a
and gives me
fidget
something to do
device!
with my hands and mouth instead. The flavor's lighter too, kind of like flavored water compared to something like soda. When I'm writing or recording or what have you, it lets me get work done without immediately reaching for a pen instead. If this sounds like something you could use,
Okay,
it'll
that's
allow me
fair.
to sweeten the deal a bit. If you grab a journey pack and use code PancreasNoWork, you also get a free Fume topper. It's a soft and replaceable chewable mouthpiece. Another great thing for dealing with cravings. So head to tryfume.com, that's tryfum.com, and use code PancreasNoWork to get your free Fume topper with your
go
journey
support
pack.
Pancreas.
Smoking's a bad habit and breaking it will only help, so if you have a problem with that, then make sure to grab yourself some Fume today. Now then, time to ensure I have about 20 videos worth of engagement from the comment section. Might as well talk about the Star Goober himself to start us off. I'm not going to explain who General Grievous is because you know who General Grievous is. Be honest here now. If you somehow don't know who he is, what rock have you been living under? And can I join you? But for some cool things he can do, well, I'll talk about that all day long. Grievous can survive in the vacuum of space for some amount of time, which is pretty low-key, honestly, compared to the rest of the shit he does. He's got at least one grappling hook in his arm for improved mobility, although given that he can also just jump dozens of feet in a single leap, that's more so needed for when he physically can't jump and run. Like when he's in space, funnily enough. He can also extend a bunch of wires to electrocute people with, which we only ever saw him do once in Star Wars, and that was when he tied up Shaak Ti in the lead up to one of her 50 different deaths. But all this is boring stuff. This isn't anything cool compared to what he can really do. 4 arms.
Louder. Really? Okay.
4 lightsabers, or if we're being honest, probably 5 lightsabers at once minimum, because he can wield them with his feet if he wants while he's doing acrobatic flips
that
and
is
giving
true.
you a seizure as he pinwheels around the battlefield. Grievous is a master with lightsabers unlike any other, and I do mean unlike any other. Per the Revenge of the Sith novelization, he was attacking over 20 times a second, and before you ask, no, this was not Grievous doing the windmill thing with his lightsabers. This is just him swinging his arms at that speed. This is one of those places where Star Wars being live action.
What species was he again? He's reptilian, right? Like Grievous is technically a reptilian species.
Can't really show what's going on completely faithfully, because at that point no one would be able to see what's going on until suddenly someone is missing arms or has a lightsaber jammed through their chest. As you can see with your presumably functioning eyes, General Grievous is also a cyborg, but that extends beyond the obvious machine bits, letting him wield more than anyone else with greater speed and accuracy. Inside his brain also lies various cybernetic enhancements. They do obvious things for functional cyberware, like increasing reaction times, but they also have a key feature somewhat less talked about. Grievous knows every lightsaber form. They were plugged into his brain and further owned by Dooku, because when that man said he was trained in Jedi arts, he was not lying. More than that, though, he learns both through them and his own intelligence as he fights his opponents, adapting their tactics, weaknesses, and in the case of the Jedi, their lightsaber forms. Any habits they've picked up, fundamentals they've been taught, weaknesses they have, are promptly logged and accounted for. I'm sure you can tell by now, but yes, I am in fact basing this on 2003 General Grievous. The real one. Mace Windu actually fought Grievous before, other than in the 2D Clone Wars, where he crushed his lungs, and he admitted outright to Obi-Wan that he could not beat Grievous. Grievous was learning even Mace's own style of lightsaber, and he said if he fought him again, he'd lose to the General. Because, well, yes, Windu could crush his lungs, which was incidentally pure dark side business and not something the Jedi do, Mace knew Grievous wasn't giving him that chance again. Strike only when fear, surprise, and intimidation are on your side. That's his rule. His body is made of super sci-fi metal, perhaps not quite as strong as adamantium, but certainly durable, and he's a lightning-fast, strong-as-hell cyborg that can cut you into pieces before you even know what's happening. Just go watch the bit where
Fun fact, in the Episode 3 novelization, Grievous took a starfighter cannon to the chest and lived. Yeah, you know, he's the definition of the I lived. Even, I talked about this with Pancreas the other day, actually. Even after he dies, he gets rebuilt with, like dementia. If I can remember correctly, in the extended universe. And, like, he just dies to space pirates. But, like, he gets brought back.
he kidnaps Palpatine in 2003, where after the first round of blaster fire goes off, the clones get another single shot off as he dices them into pieces. That should sum him up fine enough for now, and if I remember anything else later, I'll bring it up as we go. So let's get this incredibly biased show on the road, shall we? You know, for number one,
boy, we're starting with my boy.
Shot of beating Grievous outside of the Wizard Primarchs, and I'm definitely saying that entirely because of the lore, and not at all in part because I'm afraid if I badmouth the Lion, my editor will quit. But for real, the Lion has the best shot out of all the non-psychers, and this is because the Lion is something most of the other Primarchs don't. Ultra Instinct. At least as far as I read things, the Lion when he's fighting on top of his A-game is essentially moving his body on his own. He's just schmovin', letting his instincts do their thing, and taking him to victory. This, funnily enough, mirrors how Obi-Wan was able to beat Grievous. He was such a master with his lightsaber form, and so good at being a Jedi, that in battle he emptied his mind of all thoughts and let the Force flow through him, counteracting one of Grievous's main advantages. Still to deal with, you know, the 4 helicopters Grievous calls his arms, but hey, he got the win, didn't he? As such, the Lion has the best shot, since by reckoning, that's not far off from how he fights.
Well, we're happy. Lionel Johnson
frankly,
wins.
That's how the Lion does seem to fight, in general, when arrogance isn't getting the best of him, which does happen, but thankfully for him, not too often. In a weird way, he really does fight like Obi-Wan, which is why I'd say overall the Lion is the best shot. Not guaranteed, perhaps, but as close as you can get.
Second and 11th.
Bro, they couldn't win the battle of getting screen time. How the hell are they gonna beat Grievous?
Ha!
I'm glad I started with a win for the Primarchs, because now it's time to get yelled at. But first, Fulgrim, the Palatine Phoenix, Primarch of the Emperor's Children, and one of the best
What do we think? What do we think? Yeah, the Lion deserved the win, okay? We're biased here. The two that we want to see win are going to be Lionel Johnson and I was at Pancreas and Alfarius. But other than those two, I don't really expect too many. Like we know Angron's not winning. We know Vulcan's not winning. We know Ferrus Manus isn't gonna win. We know Ferrus Manus isn't gonna win. I don't think Magnus is gonna win. Do we think Fulgrim wins? I don't know. I feel like Fulgrim will end up chopped into little bits.
Duelist out of all of them. Surely he's a good match for the Supreme Commander of the Separatist military, right? Not to me. See, as much as people really hate bringing this kind of thing up in any versus thing, Fulgrim is an arrogant little shit. Now, depending on when, he might not be too bad, but even before the 2nd and 11th Primarchs had been unpersoned, he was already making bets that he could take a planet with 8 Marines. Though he was nicer earlier on,
I mean, but the fact is,
he was
it's kind of
always
true.
plenty arrogant. Of course, Grievous is too, playing with foes any times he gets the chance. He threw that Night Sister around not for tactical advantages, but because he knew he was in control and wanted to keep having fun. But he tends to lock in when he absolutely needs to, no enjoying himself unless he's perfectly guaranteed to win. See again, Tales of the Empire. Fulgrim is the perfect opportunity for Grievous to try and use some of that surprise Dooku taught him to use. Some of the Primarchs would be able to adapt to Grievous whipping out the rest of his arms, but in my mind, I see it going like this. Fulgrim proves himself a match for Grievous and starts showboating a bit. He's just gonna have tons of fun whipping around this weird Xeno, although while I'm thinking about it on the topic of whipping around, sometimes Grievous is like 10 feet tall himself. He's like the size of the Emperor in this scene. The Star Wars Wiki says just over 7 feet. I don't know. Either way, I think Grievous is gonna suddenly whip out the 2 extra arms, start going into overdrive and throwing shit at Fulgrim with his feet, and of course having analyzed Fulgrim's style, he'll start fighting like him as well, and countering his moves. The end result is that Ferrus Manus will be saved, because Grievous gives Fulgrim the Istvan V treatment. Although as another peace offering, I would like to say that Demon Primarch Fulgrim versus Grievous would be the hardest piece of fan art to ever exist. 2 4-armed monsters, one a demon, one a cyborg, just going to town on each other. That'd be sick. The Lord of not only iron, but being a bitter prick. But hey, if there's anyone who knows attrition warfare, it's this guy. Although, because of who he's fighting, I'm gonna make this one short and sweet and say that if the fighting keeps going on, Perturabo will actually be more likely to lose. Here's my reasoning. Perturabo is great at attrition warfare as much as he would bitch about that sort of deal, all those grinding assaults the Emperor totally made him do. But attrition warfare generally assumes the other person is gonna run out of steam before you do, otherwise you're just losing over a longer period of time. Right. And in my personal opinion, it is hard to outlast someone who is 90% robot. Here's my vision. Perturabo either whips out some invention from his Primarch Bat utility belt that's some kind of EMP, because yeah, that kind of stuff can get Grievous pretty alright. Alternatively, he tries to enter melee combat with the Blunder and gets blended. I really like to imagine and infect Prey it's the second scenario, because Perturabo sucks. But he knows everything, okay, and I know what'll happen if I'm tied to railroad tracks and left to die. It doesn't mean I could do anything about it. Besides, looking at his datasheet for the Horus Heresy, he's not only slower than most of the rest, but has a lower weapon skill than a fair few of them too. Not the kind of thing that does well against the 4-armed maniac. Although I guess I'll be kind of nice to him and say that out of all the Primarchs to just say to hell with this and try and shoot Grievous or throw a billion bombs all over the place, he is the most likely. That's how the ARC troopers drove him off. Maybe he can pull it off too.
Alright, let's see if Khan can do it.
Jagged Khan does have some fights to his name, chiefly among them versus Demon Mortarion. He proved that if nothing else, he can take a hit long enough to get a finishing blow on his enemy, something that might give him an advantage against Grievous here. For example, if Grievous does something along the lines of Thrust Surge like what he can do in Battlefront 2, the less good version, then Jagged Khan will come down with a bad case of 4 lightsabers to the chest. In return, Grievous will come down with an even worse case of getting his fucking head ripped off. In fact, his stat line does lend credence to him being capable of at least holding his own against someone like the good general for some amount of time, with an initiative of 8, letting him get some good blows in at least a relatively even pace. The issue does come from how long he can keep it up. Not to say Space Marines exhaust easily, and of course neither do Primarchs, what with Gilliman sucking vacuum for 13 hours straight, but they can get tired. And unlike the Lion, the Khan doesn't have the advantage of Ultra Instinct without the white hair. He's a damn good fighter, but not that good. The war of attrition in a duel is ever in Grievous's favor as he learns the Khan's techniques over the fight and begins gaining the upper hand. I'm not sure on how likely it is that the Khan will get an overwhelming victory, the kind of thing where he sweeps in and beheads Grievous in one fell swoop. But kind of like how the Lion gets the most likely to win without magic award, I'm going to give the Khan the most likely to get a mutual kill award. There are very few people less willing to commit to the bit than Jagged Eye, so if he decides it's all or nothing, then it really is all or nothing. Although to be mean, I'm now imagining the ultimate version of that samurai trope where there's a single blow and someone dies, but in the rudest way to Jagged Eye. He comes screaming in on his grav bike, ready to end it all in one joust, and then 4 different lightsaber slashes are all you can see on screen until you just see 4 piles of Jagged Eye flop onto the ground at Mach 2.
I don't think Lehman's winning.
You'd think the Emperor's Executioner would be a lot better in a fight, but he really is the potential man of 40k. And yeah, I know there's reasons he lost his fights to Angron and Horus, but a loss is a loss. Fair is fair though, there's no brotherly love keeping him from killing Grievous, so maybe he'll stop throwing.
Okay, is he like, a question. Is he the only Primarch who's lost to Angron in the writing? Because I feel like Angron is always like the point of other people proving they're strong. So like I'm trying to think of other like Primarchs that Angron has successfully beaten, and I don't know if there are any.
Here. Leman Russ's skills in theory, and usually in practice, are fierce to be sure. The Emperor wouldn't make him his executioner, nor give him the spear that Leman keeps trying to ditch if he was a complete failure in combat, and he supposedly did.
Bobby G didn't lose. Gilliman ran away. Okay, but the Gilliman fight is... Okay. The Gilliman fight was after Lorgar and Gilliman were fighting, correct? It was after both Gilliman and Lorgar exchanged blows. Both of them are injured. Then Angron Kool-Aid Mans his way into the fight, and then he goes so berserk that he ends up getting chanted by Lorgar to become the Demon Prince. So, I mean, that's a hell of a stretch for a loss, because it's when he converts to a demon. I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't know if I would really count that one, because I think that any rational person would shit pants and leave the moment you see a Primarch start converting into a demon prince. But but we know Gilliman's one of the worst fighters, and we know Gilliman would lose in a one-on-one fight against Angron. I'm just saying, in the books, Angron always seems to lose, because even in that fight when he wins, he lost his humanity. G-Boy's forgiven, he tried. I know nothing next to 40k other than that there's an emperor that might be undead, a plague guy named Nurgle. It's okay, I'm only 3 months in. I've been indoctrinated into the lore.
Take down 2 Primarchs, or at least one of them. Nobody really knows what that whole deal with those missing legions is all about, but he was almost certainly involved, so that's a dub for Leman. It should be noted that the same thing he criticized Angron for, being lured into a trap because of violent tunnel vision, did somewhat work against him when he went to assassinate Horus, so there is the possibility...
No, I know canonically in a one-on-one Angron takes it, we should take it, but I mean in the writing, I feel like Angron is always, especially Demon Angron, is used as a plot device to show you someone who's insurmountably powerful and then shows how powerful the other person is. Right? Like when he fought Sanguinius, his head popped. When he fought the lion, he gets his head cut off with the shield, right? Or something like that. Like I know he died to both of them. Like I'm trying to think of other circumstances where he fought other Primarchs in the writing. He constantly loses to the guard because the guard rules if they wanted to kill everything single Primarch. It's just a matter of like I know he's powerful and I know he's one of the best fighters, but the problem is that he's used as a plot device. Yeah, he's a jobber like the Avatar of Cain. Exactly.
Grievous could use his brain a bit and stunt on him that way. But it's also possible Leman could pull ahead early on and clutch out a win, especially since he has access to multiple weapons and will be proficient with all of them, for all that he hates the spear. As always, give Grievous time and it's dangerous, but Leman might be able to power through it. Although that being said, Grievous doing the windmill lightsaber spins would be incredibly funny, because I'm just imagining it cutting the Emperor's spear into pieces, since it's, well, a spear. Most of a spear is not the pointy bit, and I imagine it would be fairly easy to cut with a single wrong thrust. Of course, then you could make the argument that the spear is related to the Emperor, and one of the few things that could probably clash with a lightsaber without shattering, but the mental image is too funny to me. Leman goes for a stab and his spear gets shredded and he stares at it dumbfounded for a second. Then Grievous leaps on him like a trapdoor spider like he does sometimes. I like Leman, I'm not even trying to bully him or be overly biased here. I just, for some reason, really want to imagine him going into this fight absolutely hammered and being confused as hell throughout it. Hell, maybe that'll work in his favor here. He'll be...
Leman's one of those ones I feel is like really polarizing. I feel like a lot of people really hate him, but a lot of people really love him.
Too drunk to be confused by Grievous's erratic movements and just bulldoze on through him. See, now I'm gonna need people to follow me for this one, because I'm probably gonna sound insane.
No way,
but remember how I said Grievous is smart. As much as he's most known for being the lightsaber monster, keep in mind he was also directing a galaxy-wide war. His blitz to Coruscant in Episode 3 was not only through several core systems, but occurring at the same time as the Outer Rim sieges. He knows how to wage war and win battles, and though there was likely some help from Palpatine, at least for Coruscant, he knows how to go on the offensive against even the mightiest fortress. So enter poor Rogel Dorn. His armor is damn tough, and his defense is damn near impenetrable.
Okay, but we're creating scenarios in which, that are almost in favor of the Primarchs because of how skewed this would be. I don't think that Dorn in a one-on-one against General Grievous wins. If he fortifies himself and plays defensively, sure, maybe. But I don't think in a one-on-one Dorn wins.
But he ain't perfect. Fulgrim went to town on him, which was admittedly as a demon Primarch, but he was still pulling ahead in their duel at the Horus Heresy. I will never stop making fun of Emperor's Children's fans over this moment because Fulgrim just walked off and through, but he did in total honesty simply walk off. He was bored and done with the Siege of Terra. Maybe he didn't want to stick around for what he saw as a losing battle, or maybe the Slaneshi Demon Prince was bored and wanted to do other things, and it's just as simple as that. But against an opponent not bored, it ain't looking good for Dorn. Yeah, he killed Alfarius, but I'm hesitant to give Dorn too much credit for killing a spy in open combat.
I will also say, for anybody who watches the next part of the Pancreas collab with me, I trigger him a little bit on my Alpha Legion takes. I do trigger him a little bit.
Tends to be when they're the weakest. I'm picturing Grievous jumping all over him, perhaps literally, and slowly chipping away at his armor until he makes a lethal wound and the Bastion of Terra goes down. He's smart enough to figure out any weak points, or failing that, he knows how to make one. And at the nicest for Dorn, Grievous too will just leave. He won't partake in the fight anymore, because even if he can't win, he also can't lose, and he knows it's just a waste of time. He too will go do something better, much like most people who hear Rogel Dorn lore also go do. A slightly more interesting matchup than one might think, because General Grievous is no stranger to fighting enemies with foresight. For those unaware, basically every Jedi has some amount of future sight. Usually this is limited to things like knowing where the next attack or two will land, helping them do things like deflect blaster bolts, or as it were, lightsaber blades. Obi-Wan was simply incredibly good at it, since he would let the Force flow through him, becoming a conduit for it in essence. Most if not all Jedi were capable of it to various degrees, however. This did not stop Grievous from mulching through dozens of them. Much of the reasons Grievous was told to focus on fear, surprise, and intimidation wasn't simply because an enemy too busy shitting their pants in terror is too busy to fight back. By acting the way he did, Grievous would disrupt a Jedi's connection to the Force itself. They no longer could rely on their precognition, their natural connection to this cosmic force.
The sad part is that I still remember this guy's name, the guy who has like the weird little noodle head over here, just because it's this. I don't want to say it's a stupid name, but it's like the most weird name ever. It's Kiadamundi, and I don't understand. Like, I think the entire species like has names like that, but like, I don't know why it lives rent free in my head.
Had to rely on their lightsaber, and for all but Kenobi, this would get him killed. Now for Kurz, his foresight already wasn't perfect. Aside from the fact a big theme of his story is that at basically any point he could have avoided his fate, he was beaten by both Vulcan and the Lion. He can be beaten. His foresight can be worked around or brute force through. Now take Conrad, who's a nervous schizophrenic wreck at the best of times, and then throw the Sieger procedure at him. Bro's not going to be able to process the future during this fight. At best, it's going to be a near-exact replica of when Bardock saw the future mid-fight and got gut-punched, only now he's getting gut-stabbed. Hell, you know what? If anything, we'll just one-up one here for maximum bias. Grievous shows up, draws his sabers, and Conrad's mess of a mind thinks he's the assassin the Emperor sent after him. Grievous adds some cool Primarch weapons to his collection and walks away mildly confused. Does anyone else always replace that last U in Sanguinius with an A? Is that just the Chicago in me that can never be cleansed out talking? Anyway, Sanguinius, yes, the angel of the Primarchs, the one everyone likes. And he is pretty damn good in a fight, let's not pretend otherwise.
But wait, that's Sanguinor, right? That's Sanguinor.
He's beaten Angron, he's beaten Kabanda, and in older lore, his duel with Horus was outright what allowed the Emperor to kill him, as Sanguinius put a weak point in Horus's armor the Emperor could use. In newer lore, Sanguinius seems to have instead gotten dog-walked, but you know, that's the Horus heresy. Why have cool mystical stories when we can explain everything and ruin half of it? But if I'm reverting back to 2003 Grievous' first capabilities, I'll give Sanguinius the same courtesy. This duel would be phenomenal to behold, as two unmatched combatants not holding back go at it.
I think Sanguinius
Lightsabers
loses.
and legendary blades flash out at each other in the blink of an eye, tearing up the ground around them as the warriors have at each other. And honestly, I think even though I'm not saying he's his biggest fan, I might have to give the fight to him. He's an incredible warrior without anything really to prove, at least in the same way as Fulgrim, and he too can see the future. Although, and this is one of those things that makes people angry again when you bring it up in fights, I think Sanguinius better kill him the first time around. If Grievous gets...
I feel like Sanguinius' wings would be a hindrance to him. I feel like they'd be a massive hindrance to him, especially because Grievous is the type of character that would just straight up cut the wings off.
The way we might have another Mace Windu situation, where Grievous learns and adapts to Sanguinius' tricks and style, and for round 2 it'll be a much hairier fight for Sanguinius. But though I'm sure he'll take some cuts, he's taken a beating before and gone on to kill great foes after it. That was him during the whole Siege of Terra, after all, fighting demon after traitor after demon Primarch and always coming back for more. He can probably handle things the first time around. Perhaps it's not guaranteed, if only because the image of Grievous standing over Sanguinius's corpse instead of Horus makes me giggle, but he's probably got this.
Is it like 2 seconds long? Oh, it's not! I thought the Ferrus Manus section was going to be 2 seconds long.
I must confess, viewer, that I do not hold an exceptional amount of faith in anything Ferrus Manus does. Now, admittedly, that may just me being tired of talking to Ferrus Manus fans. It's more so general confusion over the matter than anything. Out of all the characters in 40k, you pick the guy who died barely anyways into a 60-book plus series as your favorite. There truly are no greater glup shitto Primarchs than he. I'll be fair though, he is a craftsman, and sure enough, he does have an exceptional array of weapons as per his horse.
How many books is he even in before Fulcrum kills him? Like, how many books is Ferrus Manus even in? 40k is quite silly. 40k is a mess. Yeah, they just called him Glup Shitto.
For his heresy profile, and just from their names alone, they do some pretty nasty stuff. He did forge plenty of weapons for his brothers too, after all, and Primarchs aren't going to be using anything but the best. And you know what? Initiative 6, not bad at all. I was expecting Initiative 4 or something. But then, I mean, it's Ferrus Manus. He has metal hands, great. Iron hands, man, has iron hands. I can't say he's the best in a fight, because what fighting? I'm pretty sure he did something similar to Angron and fought against something roughly equivalent to a Warhound Titan, so I'm sure if he hits Grievous, it's gonna hurt like a bitch, but hitting that cyborg is no small task. In fact, I'm just gonna keep being mean. You know how I'm declaring this fight? Grievous decides he has better things to do than fight Ferrus Manus. I'll leave the ball in your court though, Iron Hands fans, all 3 of you watching this video. Does Grievous leave out of genuine fear of what would happen if he faces off against the Gorgon? Or does he want to fight literally anyone more interesting? You decide.
Alright, I'm gonna go grab my coffee. I'll be right back before we start the Angron part. Give me 1 second. Why do I come back to socks and sniffing? Why are you doing that in the comments? Anyway.
You know, there are some fights that are a bad matchup because the other opponent is more skilled. Sometimes because the power gap is so great that there's nothing that can be done no matter how clever you are. And sometimes it's because you're fighting the physical embodiment of rabies. Hello, Angron. How lovely of you to join us today. Angron's physical capabilities are the kind of thing I feel can be summarized nicely by simply saying they are Angron's physical capabilities. He's bench pressed titans, he's fought entire planets essentially on his own. You could shoot Angron into the face in a
Ferris Manus wins using some Deus Ex Machina EMP gizmo he got from the admech, then bashes Grievous's head in. I will not accept notes, but I want notes.
Aside from him secretly wishing it would have killed him, he's just gonna beat you to death with the gun while your hand is still attached to it. You can't really strike fear into Angron or intimidate him because all he wants is death. You can probably surprise him though, that's still in the cards. Adapting to Angron's fighting style is also a mixed bag because he doesn't really have one, at least to my understanding of how he fights. He's closer to Broly of all people, because he's stronger than you, he knows he's stronger than you, and he's going to start cleaving and smashing until everything in front of him starts moving. You can employ skill against him fairly easily, but that's not really something you can learn from. The lightsaber windmill might work wonders against him though, if only because he'll throw himself into it. My best bet for Grievous would be if he can grab the butcher's nails on Angron's head. As a demon, Sanguinius doing that caused him immense pain. I'm gonna make the assumption that it won't do him any favors as a mortal either. If Grievous can rip those...
This is basically the greatest rapier duelist versus a bear. Grievous is infinitely more skilled, but he can't do anything against someone that strong. But everybody beats Angron in the books!
Out of his head, he can win the fight no problem, if only because ripping those out will rip out Angron's brain too. Grievous gets to be a Spider-More too in that scenario, which is always fun to see.
Guilliman loses. Guilliman loses.
I
love
him
him
to win, more than the rest of them anyways. It's Guilliman, one of 2 or 3 tops functioning adults out of all the Primarchs and a pretty cool fella all around. He's smart, decent in a fight, and a logistical genius. He's fought against almost every single traitor Primarch at some point or other, and against most of them, he has lost. Quite badly in some cases. Guilliman's at his best when he's directing a war or building a civilization. Under his command, the taxes will be collected efficiently, and if given a chance, things will get better. And I did mention it before, but for good measure, let's bring it up again. He was punching Space Marines' heads off in space, which is quite the feat. But he isn't known for being a duelist, nor a brutal berserker. He can be all of those things and more, and do them all.
Well, actually, wait. Serious question to the other people in the community who are Warhammer lore nerds. In 40K, since he has been resurrected and is wearing the different armor and has the Emperor's sword, has he fought any other demon Primarch other than Mortarion, whom he did beat through proxy of the Emperor? Because I know that Mortarion got his face kicked in when the Emperor took over Guilliman's body, right? But Guilliman, I want him to win. I love Guilliman. I just know he's not a fighter. I just don't have expectation for him. So I'm curious if he's fought other demon Primarchs since he's been resurrected. He fought Magnus. Other than Mortarion. Yes, no. Okay, I'm seeing 2 different things. Because I know he fought Mortarion. But other than Mortarion, I did not know he fought Magnus. Do we count the why is it like contentious whether or not briefly? Yes, Magnus almost beat him, but then the Sisters of Silence showed up. Huh.
Fairly well, but he isn't the best at any of them.
But he didn't lose.
That's his and his Legion's shtick, aside from, of course, being the best statesmen and logisticians around. Grievous does not care for Guilliman's politics. He does not care for his Ultramar. He only lives to see him die. And quite frankly, die Guilliman probably will. Say what you want about me sucking off Grievous's cybercock, but Guilliman faced off against a 4-armed swordsman before. He lost and had to sleep for 10,000 years.
This is true.
This is not a good matchup for Bobby G, and the only way he comes out alive is if the Emperor does what he did against Mortarion and resurrects Guilliman. Maybe he could piss on Palpatine's front lawn like he did Nurgle 2, though, while he's at it. Funny, the CIS Parliament just lighting on holy fire out of nowhere.
Ooh.
The ultimate advantage Grievous...
Ooh, wait. Mortarion's not that strong, but what do we think? I don't... Well, Grievous doesn't have a sense of smell either, right?
As in this fight is that he doesn't have a nose
and
can't smell
God
this
damn it.
rank-ass bastard. Something I'm sure anyone who was in the same room as Mortarion has also wished. There's a few ways Mortarion could win this fight, though given his track record, I'm not certain how either of them will go. Grievous is lightning fast and capable of darting across whatever room they're fighting in like it's nothing, and Mortarion is a bit of a lumbering monster. Not that he can't move fast when needed, but the Primarch of the Death Guard isn't the quickest guy in a fight. I mean, just look at the Khan fight for how I'm imagining this sort of thing going down. Mortarion swings his scythe and then, hey, wait a minute, where did the blade go? or his forearm for that matter. He'll no doubt take plenty of blows before he goes down, but Mortarion was always the attrition guy for shit planets. You know, acid rain is the norm kind of deals, not necessarily really entrenched enemies. Aside from the electric tentacles, Friesen doesn't have any tricks like poisoning you. He just chops you into pieces or crushes your head with his foot. I wouldn't say that this is the kind of fight Mortarion is going into with any major advantages beyond being a tanky prick, which can always help, but I wouldn't say so here.
Magnus the Red. Magnus.
There are exactly two ways this goes, depending on if you care for Magnus when he's described at his peak in background events, or Magnus on the tabletop, as well as if Grievous can disrupt Magnus's concentration in the same way he can the Jedi. If Magnus can keep up concentration and is on his A-game, then it's like the 2003 cartoon where Windu extends his hand and crushes Grievous's organs. Only instead of it just his organs, it's all of Grievous being folded into a cube. If Grievous can disrupt his concentration, or it isn't primetime Magnus, then the Red Man is going to be chopped into pieces. I mean, come on now. It isn't like Grievous's whole thing isn't being the best there ever was at killing the space wizards as a non-space wizard.
that is true.
And for reference, in case you think I'm being myself and vastly overestimating things, consider Anakin Skywalker. In one Clone Wars arc, the dude was manhandling gods. Palpatine still ensured he never met Grievous, because though he was fairly certain Anakin could pull away, he couldn't say it with 100% certainty, and it would be really awkward if Palpatine's chosen one apprentice was turned into mincemeat. Now true, he also didn't want Grievous being killed, because that would interfere with other parts of his plan, but the point still stands that if Grievous was considered able to at least potentially kill someone who was bringing down the incarnations of the Force...
You know, you think about it, the dark side really in the old movies had some very, very powerful players. I mean, I know it's obvious, but like you think about like the contention, right? You have Anakin and Grievous as opposed to like Obi-Wan and like I guess at that point Yoda was in his peak still, but like still, damn, the difference is crazy.
He can handle Magnus in theory too. In fact, that's part of why he spins his lightsabers around so goddamn much. Even if he isn't hitting a Jedi, a whirling lightsaber inches from someone's face is gonna make concentrating hell. Magnus might go to cast some spell that needs a hand sign or a verbal component, and then suddenly he's lost his hand and he can't speak because there's a blade inches from his lips. It'll be a quick fight either way, but in my infinite knowledge, I declare it not a guaranteed...
Also, I'm gonna say this. Magnus looks like such a loser in this picture. Like, I understand it's meant for his vibe. I know it's his aesthetic and all that. Every detail of him in this picture makes him look like a douche and a loser.
Win for Magnus. The War Master, the Arch Trader, the many other big fancy-sounding names to describe the guy who made 40k what it is. Ignoring the war in heaven, but GW does that plenty, so we might as well, right? Horus, as far as combat goes, is a pretty damn impressive figure, and every time he's described, he's always placed up there in basically every category as a Primarch.
Why does he have a nose tube?
Only Fulgrim and Russ could outduel him. Only Gilman was a better statesman and strategist, and even then only barely. Only Sanguinius was more well-liked by his brothers. There's a reason he was chosen to be the War Master. He could be arrogant to be sure, but he was charismatic enough that it wasn't at all hard to hide, and a good amount of it was earned arrogance. He was an incredibly capable man, and for all that Russ kind of threw the fight against him,
that's
Horus
my favorite Horus art I've
seen. And, you know, Horus is fairly likely to win this one, too. In the fight, he of course still needs to be wary of General Grievous, picking his style apart with his intelligence and cybernetics feeding him information on it, but Horus alongside Sanguinius is the biggest example of just brute forcing his way through the fight. Not literally brute forcing it, but simply being good enough to handle the situation. Grievous is a tricky bastard and is more than willing to be underhanded, but I mean,
not only do you have to be concerned if, like, if the Terminator armor is stronger than a lightsaber, but, like, I think one of his legs and, like, leg armor goes up to the midsection of Grievous, even Grievous being 7 feet.
Horus is good enough on his own to do well, too. Not a guaranteed win, but I'd bet in the case of Horus here. 7 out of 10 times at least.
Dead.
Bro, it's Lorgar. It's goddamn Lorgar. Yeah, he's a bit of a psyker, as it were, and yeah, he's still a Primarch, so he can throw hands, but I mean, Lorgar. To be charitable, it could just be that on my end, he's one of those fellas I find hard to summon up much of an appreciation for, if only because he's surrounded by stronger people. That's by no means a character flaw, but when I'm choosing teams for Primarch Gym Volleyball, he's certainly not first on the list. Maybe not last, but definitely not in the top 50%. He's not really bringing much to the table on that front, and no, the Avatar of Cain kill doesn't count. Not only was it a crippled one that had been fighting non-stop essentially ever since the fall of the Eldar, but it's an Avatar of Cain. Yeah, he went on to fight the Bloodthirster Angrath too, but at that point Chaos was trying to get the ball on this whole heresy thing rolling, and even though it's a bit condescending, I imagine Khorne told the Bloodthirster to throw the fight just a little bit. His weapon of choice doesn't really strike me as helpful in this fight either. A mace or scepter or whatever the hell they call it in a given moment is not an elegant weapon. It's the sort of thing that's predictable, even if wielded with skill.
So hot take, I like Lorgar. I don't like him as in like I think he's right or I think he's good. I think that he's a good villain, and I think his character is cool. I do like him as an antagonist.
You see the guy swinging it down towards your head, you can safely assume not much in the way of feinting is going on. I don't see Grievous having much in the way of problems here, as much as Lorgar did pull some surprise psychic powers on Corvus Corax while the Bird Boy was beating his ass.
Vulcan, lose. Please. I need Vulcan to lose this fight, please. Please.
I don't think it's really worth hanging around on this one for too long. Vulcan can't die. He's slow as hell as far as the combatants were talking about.
But his terms of revival are so weird and convoluted. Didn't his own men need to like walk into a fire, like a waterfall of fire or a firefall, whatever, for him to suddenly come back? Like, wasn't his resurrection like a really obscure BS?
Which is backed up by tabletop stats. His weapon is a massive hammer, which has the same weaknesses as Lorgar's mace, but worse, and he can't die. Grievous could probably get some good shots in, maybe even kill him, and then Vulcan stands back up. The whole perpetual thing kind of throws a wrench into any
but you're
like this.
okay, but Pancreas is wrong on this one. Not just because of my hatred of Vulcan, but because he's giving the perpetualism way too much credit, because he doesn't instantly come back. That's why that whole Vulcan lives stomp meme exists, because like he doesn't come back like right away. So like, yeah, he could come back, sure, but in the fight, in the context of, does he, like in a fight to the death, until like I think Grievous wins, and then Vulcan comes back, yeah, but he still loses in the fight. Grievous just gets torched. I feel like Grievous would live through the fire. There's a reason why the community says the salamander lore is ass. Their writer Nick Kime can't write. The day that they have a good story, I might revise my opinion of Vulcan. But my opinion is just gonna always be staunch on this, because everybody just parrots memes from the Emperor's TTS, and I just can't stomach it.
Which sneaky little guy can get the jump on the other first is how this one will come down.
Corvus
Surprisingly possible for both of them, given
Corvus
that for
wins.
a dozen-foot-tall demigod and a person who's almost entirely machine, they're both
I
surprisingly
legitimately
good
think
at being
Corvus wins.
stealthy. Corvus does have some pretty decent fighting skills aside from his stealth abilities, as shown, of course, by him slashing at Lorgar like a madman and nearly killing him. True, I did just spend a good bit making fun of Lorgar for being a stupid nerd, but props to Corvus for it. And again, as per the Horus Her-
The convoluted part of him is returning to 40k. His perpetual status depends of the injury. If he's stabbed to death, he revives pretty quickly. Does he? That's in the books. That's actually in the books. Because the only resurrection I know of, because obviously I am not super deep. I've gotten pretty deep compared to most people. But I mean, I'm not obviously like a million books in. The only resurrection I know of with Vulcan is the one where where they had to walk into the pillars of fire, and he suddenly comes back from the distance, like a strange figure appears and it was him. But like that was the only one that I know of. He comes back mostly instantly while being tortured, murdered by Curse. Was he killed during the Curse thing? I didn't know he died during that. I thought he was just tortured. I thought he was tortured and went through like psychological torture. I didn't know he was actually killed. I like Corvus. I just wish GW didn't make him look like a pug with a wig half the time. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. When he was Nuke, he took forever to... That's the Nuke. All right. Wait. Which one was the Nuke? I remember him... I guess I do know more than one resurrection, because I feel like I know several instances of his death. Because didn't he also fall in from orbit on like one life? I know that... And I know that he also... His most recent one was he took out like the strongest orc ever or something, right? Like he died with him. Isn't that how that one goes? Like a lot. Perturabo was the Nuke. Yeah, he got murked over and over again during the torture session. I didn't know he died during the torture sessions. Okay, that's something new to learn. Corvus uses his jetpack wings like extra arms. Does he? I didn't know that. Nuke was on Isfan 5. Ah, okay. Kurz killed him a lot. See, in all the descriptions that we had of the incident with Kurz and Vulcan, I didn't realize he was killing him, because I don't think it was ever touched on. It just implied that he was tortured a lot. I actually did not realize that he was killed. Yeah, look, you learn new things.
Heresy rules, Corvus can actually switch up his fighting style fairly fluidly, which, while perhaps not enough to guarantee victory, can definitely help stave off Grievous learning his every move and countering them. For the first time, the general has to deal with someone pulling the same changing battle forms trick that he does, albeit with a lesser number of them to do it with. I would make the argument he doesn't get his pseudo-invisibility, however. While biological things can't detect him, machines can, and Grievous has his brain wired up like a car battery. Maybe it'd kind of work like the active camo setting in Halo 3 where it's translucent, but I don't think he's walking up and backstabbing Grievous like an invisible Dark Souls invader. How exactly he'd do, I'd say, not great, but there is always the chance the jump pack wearing sneaky Primarch gets the drop on Grievous and does to him what Grievous did to Shaggy in 2003. They're both squirmy little bastards, so I don't want to declare the fight certain either way. That sentence, incidentally, translates to, I think Grievous will win, but I can't think of a good reason to say it for certain. Bite me. Dead Alpha Legion Primarchs, and God, I'm tempted to end it there. I hate the Alpha Legion. The rat spies of the Alpha Legion are on their A game when we...
I love him so much. I will keep arguing this with him. I will keep being annoying with him about the Alpha Legion.
You have no idea what the hell is happening with them because they're slinking off in a corner doing God only knows what, with a plot that makes no sense, but the writers assure you it does. Sure enough, come a fight against the
Wait, you know what?
Opponent,
you know, hang on. Let me DM him. I'm gonna be a pain in the ass. Let me DM him real quick. Where is he? Where is he? Alfarius beats Grievous easy. Alright, back to the video.
To him. Alfarius was killed by Rogel Dorn, or maybe that was Omegon, and Omegon was killed by Gilliman, except maybe it was Alfarius, and also maybe it was a body double. What a magical army they are, where you never have to commit to a single plot point you write. Either way, when the forearms get a swing in, the Alpha Legion's Primarchs get a dying. They do have the advantage of being the only two Primarchs who I'd say could fight together, since, it's twins and shit. That'd be threatening. A good thing for them, we never saw Grievous take on several Jedi Masters all at once and kill several of them, proving he's perfectly capable of dealing with multiple powerful opponents at once. Good thing an animation like that doesn't exist. That'd be real bad for the twins, wouldn't it? So why does this video exist? Am I totally out of ideas like I've joked about before? Did I want to make Space Marine fans angry again? Am I an asshole? The answer to all of these is yes, absolutely, but also I want to talk about General Grievous more. He's cool, you know? He's really cool. Makes me say hell yeah when I look at him. Thank you as always to my wonderful channel members. You are the 4 lightsabers to my General Grievous, letting me flip around YouTubers. I don't know, man. If you'd like to support the channel, feel free to subscribe or become a member. Either way, thank you for watching and take care out there.
Waiting. 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 Still waiting. Still waiting. Oh my god. It's like the longest time of, I mean, it's good that he's getting all the credits, but it's like the longest window of time. The longest window of time before we get to hear what he has to say. Waiting. There'll be a day where he has an end credit directed target. No, he wouldn't target me. He loves me.
As a consolation prize, I'll break away from my usual Warhammer-based biases and say Grievous is tearing his way through fantasy as well. That's a nice hammer you have, pre-Ascension Sigmar. Too bad you look like sliced ham now. Tyrion? Decent fight, but you better hope Sunfang can be used as an IED if you want to survive. Gotrek? That one doesn't count. That's Gotrek.
Yeah,
Aside
Gotrek
from
wins.
that, bring forth the dead elves, dwarfs, lizardmen, and more, one and all. He can't defeat the Skeleton Pope, however. Such is the power of Nagash, after all.
Alright then. Alright! That was a lot more fun than I thought it was gonna be. I mean, I love all of his videos, obviously, but like, it was a very random topic for me to just love. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Let's go. Let me put on music for a second while I switch over to the next video. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Sorry. They're making a Pokemon pinball machine. Oh my god, it's so cool. Oh my god, it's so cool. Hold please, I need to go and look. Contact for availability. What kind? Does it not tell you what the price is? Do we not get to know what the price is? Never mind. I don't need a pinball machine. Yeah, I don't need a pinball machine. Yeah, no, I don't need that. No, I don't need that. I don't need that. It was cool. It was certainly cool. Don't need that. Just play the one on the GBA. I have the one on. It's actually Game Boy Color. It's on the Game Boy Color, but I do have that. This is a reassuring gas. Yeah, it was a bit much. It was a bit much. It's the price of a car. But, you know, it's fine. Yeah, it is fine. Yeah. Unless, no. All right, next video. Let me put this off. There's a GBA version? Is there? I actually don't know if there is. Pokemon, Pinball, Game Boy, Advance. Oh, they made a Sapphire and Ruby version. Oh, well, that's on my collection of things that I need to have now. I have every Pokemon game, so that one's not on there. That's actually really cool. That is really neat. Huh. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, let me do something real quick. Hello, Jose. Also, homie, I see your comment that you added to my my video. Something Nutella something. Very cute. Very cute. Fucking demons. A lot of you. Have you ever seen an analog computer in a vintage vending machine? It's absolutely mind. Is it? I have a lot of old vintage things. I don't have a pinball machine. Pretty sure there's tons of Pokemon grid-based, turn-based strategy game for the NDS. Huh? Conquest? I know I have. I think I have Conquest actually. I have pretty much every Pokemon game. Trying to think. I don't have my inbox Japanese Leaf Green, or not Leaf Green. I had Pokemon Green, the original, complete in box, but I gave it away as a gift. And I had Leaf Green complete in box, and I had Fire Red in box, but I had to sell them like years ago. No, you know what game was really underrated? Pokemon Rumble. It was really fun. It was actually a really fun game. All right. Next video. This is the one I'm the most excited for today. I know a lot of the community is not interested. They like their Warhammer. That's fine. So be it. We are going to be watching the Vampire Graves. So I'm looking forward to this one. It's another Milo video, so it's going to be a good one. Okay. Let me get this ready. I do not know why I hear vacuuming and it just doesn't seem to stop in the distance, but that's fine. Whatever. Next is Torterra because nostalgia. All right. Gliscor is my favorite Pokemon. Mine's Cubone. Cubone and Mimikyu. I like very sad Pokemon. I don't know what that says about me, but I like very sad Pokemon. I have a life-size Cubone statue. I have a Mimikyu card collection. I'm trying to collect every single Mimikyu card. I don't push that one on stream like I do with the Gardevoir one, because the Gardevoir collection for my baby is a lot more fun. But yeah, no, I collect Mimikyu cards, and they are hard to get. Some of them are hard to get, man. All right. We are watching another Milo video. We're watching the Vampire Graves of Europe. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys will enjoy it as well.
This video will be covering topics that some viewers may find disturbing. While all of it will be in an educational format, it will contain images of burials as well as discussions of death and violence.
I really don't feel like that quantifies viewer discretion, but, you know, good on Milo, I guess, for covering his bases. I feel like the idea of a burial being, like, a discretionary topic is... I feel like that's problematic in and of itself. You know, like I never want people to experience things that trigger them, but I mean, like, I feel like if you're really disconcerted with the idea of a burial, I feel like that's a bit. I don't want to. I feel like no matter how I say this, it's gonna make me sound mean. I don't mean to sound mean. I feel like for the sake of somebody, they should try overcoming that as more like the thing. Whatever. I can't win this argument. Comments are already gonna hate me 4 seconds into this video. I'm sorry.
Discretion is advised. Vampires. You know them, you love them, you have a weird obsession with them, and according to the Smashing Pumpkins, the world is one of them.
You know what I'm gonna do? Because I don't want to deal with this, and okay, this is a serious take from the Milo base. We're gonna start the video completely over, and I'm gonna act like I didn't watch any of that, because I don't care if I leave it in the live stream for you guys who have seen it. I know that Milo fans have been some of the, like, strictest people I've ever met, like, on this platform. They catch me on everything. They catch me on everything, and they give me crap for everything. So I'm not gonna leave that there for them to give me crap. Because I had to literally members only the video of the tattoos. As I will always say this, the mummy tattoo one had to get members only because I made the comment that I didn't think stick poke was that cool. So, you know, we're not gonna start over. All right.
This video will be covering topics that some viewers may find disturbing. While all of it will be in an educational format, it will contain images of burials as well as discussions of death.
Oh, we're starting off with the BB, it sounds like. Why we're shushing? I'm gonna start over again. Do you need anything? Oh. Okay. I don't think that saying that, Pedascos, is in my best interest. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, if I avoid it, like, I don't really want it to be there. Okay. We're gonna start over.
This video will be covering topics that some viewers may find disturbing. While all of it will be in an educational format, it will contain images of burials as well as discussions of death and violence. Viewer discretion is advised. Vampires.
Oh, God,
you know them, you love them, you have a weird obsession with them.
What? Is that a pregnant version of the guy from Baldur's Gate? Is that a pregnant Astarion? Why is there pregnant Astarion? I was gonna lower the volume a little bit. But why?
And according to the Smashing Pumpkins, the world is one of them. These
It's even better with the copyright music being cut out.
fictional blood-sucking creatures have captivated the minds, hearts, and fantasies of many in the modern age. They've inspired television shows like What We Do in the Shadows and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They've inspired books like Salem's Lot and Twilight. They've inspired movies like Salem's Lot and Twilight. And what's that other one? Interview with a Vampire. I haven't seen it, but I hear it's good, apparently. And even music that I will reluctantly admit I listened to much too recently. But for this video, we're gonna...
Pretty sure that's going to end up getting hit with the copyright hammer too. So we'll find out when I end up doing the reaction. But we'll find out.
We're going to be going back to a time when vampires weren't heroes, heartthrobs, or cartoon villains, but instead were viewed as a legitimate threat of supernatural origin. A time when paranoia and superstition around the occult resulted in innocent people being treated with the accountability and brutality reserved for demonic entities.
Oh, love
Howdy,
that.
friends. My name is Milo Rossi, and today we're going to be exploring these superstitions and the grim archaeological evidence
Also, is the volume good for everybody?
that sheds light on those whose lives and afterlives were marred with the brutal superstition of the vampire. I already said brutal, didn't I? I don't know. We'll leave it.
Redundancy!
What's the worst that can happen? It sounds like shit? Fine. Title card. Uh-oh. You guys see that? Hotspot's starting to creep in here. The sunset's coming. Guys, it's happening. It is 45 degrees in the studio right now. Last video, it was 65 degrees. At this
getting
rate,
colder?
3 videos from now, I'll be dead. YouTuber and archaeologist Milo Rossi found dead, frozen in his own home. How this is even possible, we have absolutely no idea. So the reason I was inspired to make this video today is because of a video that I made a very long time ago when I first started out on TikTok. It's some of my good old-fashioned debunking content and dates back to a terrible time in my life. A time known as October of 2021.
Oh.
Whoa, is it actually? Hold on, what's today? Whoa, I may have actually recorded this like almost exactly 3 years ago. That's crazy. Either way, let's give it a watch.
Vampires used to roam the earth, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Yes, I can. Watch this.
These are burial cages from the medieval times, and they were to prevent the undead from escaping from their graves.
They are.
Look how angry, or not angry, look how serious this little dude is on the screen. It's like, yo, you can't convince me otherwise. This is true. This is fact. I see this one little bit of detail, and this is absolutely everything that I will make my entire personality about.
Aren't, and no, they weren't. They are called mort safes, and they were invented in the 1800s in England. It was common practice for medical students to learn anatomy on real human subjects. Of course, the best place you could go to find an abundance of these subjects is a graveyard. The living didn't want to see their deceased family members exhumed and put under the scalpel by a bunch of hungover frat guys. They started to do this. They would lock the bodies into the ground.
Wow. Classic. My hair was a lot better back then. What was I doing with it? God damn, look at that. That's luscious. This was one of my first videos to get like 10 million views, which I was stoked about. And it was just some guy doing like vampire pseudo-archaeology. But anyway, this video did so well that I decided to make another one like a week later because there was more people talking about the same bullshit.
This is proof that vampires used to live on the world.
Oh boy, another video about vampires.
I love the guy lighter, but why is the first guy's screen shaking so much?
I feel like I've heard about all the arguments that there are for vampires at this point, but since it is the season, I suppose I will hear this young man out and see if he can change my mind.
Young man, that man was probably about the same age that you were, Milo. Sit the fuck down. Wow. Look, I don't want to hear a goddamn thing about it, okay? I was in like a manic episode, all right? The thing that he talked about in this video is the Vampire of Venice, a human skeleton found with a brick lodged in its mouth, which is vicious and horrifying and was likely part of the superstition of people thinking that she was a vampire. Does this mean she was actually a vampire? No. But what I think is really interesting about these discoveries is that even though these people weren't vampires, the superstition still meant that they were treated as if they were. And as I looked into this phenomenon a little bit more, I found that this discovery was just the tip of a horrifying iceberg.
Oh, God.
That despite vampires not actually being real, the mere superstition of them means that we have archaeological evidence of people who were accused of being vampires.
See, that's kinda
So
cool.
in honor of these videos from right as I was about to transition onto YouTube, today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the horrifying world of vampire burials. But I think in light of today's topic, we're gonna need a little bit of a mood change. First, as an homage to my amazing fashion sense from 3 years ago, we're gonna need a little bit of a costume change. And second, we need to wait for the sun to go down.
Oh, no.
I want to start a band. It's going to be composed of a harpsichord, a theremin, a slide whistle, and the triangle. I'll see you after dark.
Oh, it's so campy.
Jesus.
Oh my god, I can't.
That's easier. How the fuck? I have outdone myself this time, folks. That's fucking crazy. Ooh, I bet you can't see me at all standing here. Well, welcome to my video. Okay, only one last thing to do and we can get this bad boy going. I think that the only appropriate drink to have with a video like this is a bottle of wine. Well, Milo, who are you drinking the wine tonight for? 'Cause the boys.
'Cause the boys.
Now, of course, as we can see, it is almost 40 degrees in here. So didn't really think that part through, but it's all in the name of content, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, Jesus. It's only been there for 120 years. Let's put a hole in it now.
Okay, so, peeve of mine. This is from my years as a bartender, right? There is no right or wrong way, but peeve of mine. When you have a knife, or you have a sharp object that you're going to open up the wrapping of a wine bottle, because it's usually that what kind of metal it is. It's like a plasticky. It's like plastic. It's a plastic with like a metal inside, right? So instead of cutting like he did, where you want to like cutting across the rim, you really just want to do a quick slide vertically, so then you can take the whole thing off. I hate when I'm pouring a bottle of wine and it's like you see all these little fragments of the metal bending in, because of like a sloppy cut like that. It's not a big deal. It's just a pet peeve of mine.
There better be sick, like, organ music playing this entire time.
I do like his wine opener though. This thing's cool.
Which way is it again? Okay. That's the way. I like it. I found this thing in the garbage. I was gonna say more, but honestly, that's just fucking, that's good enough. Oh my God.
That's really cool.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I wish I could find one of those in the garbage.
This is supposed to be used at. There we go. Anyway, this is why I found it in the garbage. Straight up not working. Look, that gag was gonna be so good if it actually fucking worked. Oh, I was just being an idiot, actually. It completely works. You aren't supposed to pull it back again. Okay, now we're ready.
Sorry.
Okay, let's start the video. Let's get vamping.
Let's
We
get
sucking
vamping.
tonight, boys.
You know what? Hold on. I'm getting a glass of wine for this. Hold on. Listen to some music. Give me 1 second. Okay. I don't know if you can hear the sound effects of me opening up the bottle in the distance of the cork. I went quick. Fresh bottle of Cabernet opened. I am ready. I feel like the retention on this one is going to be rough. Wait, why? Because I step away? Do you think that because I stepped away? I stepped away for like 2 seconds. Damn. Well, I got my nice glass of wine now. My mods will mark it and I'll cut the time, I guess.
Can you see my breath? I can see my breath. Can't see your breath, though. Or can I? It is the summer of 2018, and an archaeological team led by David Soren is conducting an excavation in the Umbria region of Italy. It's in a little town called Lugnano, and the site that the archaeologists are working on is the ruins of a 1st century Roman villa. Now, while that seems like a pretty logical place for an archaeological excavation, they weren't actually there because of the villa. Instead, they were there because about 400 years after the villa fell into ruin, it was repurposed. In about the 5th century AD, this ruin was converted into an impromptu graveyard. A graveyard which locally gained the name La Necropoli dei Bambini, or morbidly, the Cemetery of the Children. At the time of this excavation in 2019, the remains of 50 different individuals had been found there, and as the name suggests, they were all quite young. The eldest discovered up until this point, a female, was only 3. But during this excavation, the archaeologists discovered something bizarre: the unusual burial of a child uncharacteristic of anything else found at the site. The remains were found in an improvised tomb made out of roof tiles from the collapsed villa above, and they were from a 10-year-old whose sex was not able to be identified. But the thing that set them apart from the rest of those in the cemetery was not only their age, but the way that they had been buried. This individual, for whatever reason, had been buried on their side with a stone lodged in their open mouth. The stone had flecks of mortar on it, indicating that it had also come from the ruin above. This told archaeologists that this was not just a piece of rubble in the ground where the child had been buried, but had been placed there intentionally. This grisly discovery came as a shock to the archaeologists who had never discovered anything quite like it, and it earned this discovery.
Okay, so dumb question. Is that like, how do we attribute, I mean, I'm sure he's going to elaborate on it, but how do we attribute to shoving a rock in a child's mouth to that kid must have been a vampire? I'm sure that there's more to it, and I'm sure he's going to elaborate. I just think that at this stage, it's a hell of a jump to be like, yeah, we're talking about vampires. Rock in mouth? Clearly, not on his part, because I know that he was referencing a conspiracy nut that was saying it before. But I'm confused on that one. Unless there was something that was missed and I just didn't even catch it.
The nickname, the Vampire of Lugnano. Now, the logical question here is why? Now, this cemetery had been started in around the mid-5th century because of a massive outbreak of malaria. During this outbreak, younger populations would have been hit exceptionally hard, a morbid trend that we can see indicated in this graveyard and is likely the reason that this graveyard existed in the first place. Now, the Vampire of Lugnano also had an abscessed tooth. This symptom is indicative of someone who died from malaria. That candle just melted straight through and just burned out inside. That's a little creepy. There we go. Now, at the time, the good people of the 5th century probably did not have a great idea on what malaria was, how it worked, or the processes by which to avoid it, which likely resulted in an immense amount of superstition. One of the primary reasons for why this individual was buried on their side with a stone in their mouth is based on the superstitious belief that they could rise from the dead and infect others, and that these burial precautions would prevent that from happening. Now, why this child was treated in this way while other ones in the cemetery weren't is currently unknown. Perhaps there were some other extenuating circumstances around
maybe this child actually would bite people.
Their death that would have warranted them being buried in this way. As we will see later, accusations of vampirism are something that go far beyond just the way that an individual died. As strange and disturbing as this burial is, it is far from the level of grisly creativity that would come to arise in later vampire burials. In fact, the Vampire of Lugnano, buried in the 5th century, actually predates the idea of a vampire, or at least a vampire as we know it. While the vampire superstition wouldn't arise until about 800 years later, these haunting burials highlight a fear of something that long predates the vampire, something that our modern world has mostly forgotten, something referred to as a
Can't believe this. Yeah, I would have been labeled a vampire. A biter.
I can't. I was downstairs getting ready for this video, and I was like, oh man, what kind of glass should I use? And I was gonna find like a cool chalice or something. And I opened the cabinet, and this was the first thing that I noticed, and I was like, shit, I gotta use this stupid ass cup in my vampire video. 'Tis the season. There are many theories as to where the vampire myth came from, and like any piece of superstition or mythos or fable or...
Just because he's admitting how dumb his glass is. My glass, you will appreciate this one. It is limited edition mom vintage, 40 and fabulous is what it says, okay? This is one of the memes that you guys got me.
legend, it's almost impossible to actually nail down a single concrete source. Instead, they are something that just morph through time as they are told and told and told and retold and change pretty much indefinitely. And I would imagine that there's probably been some kind of superstitious fear around the dead rising again since, like, as long as people could die. The idea of a vampire is something which, as we'll see, originated really in, Europe, but literally, like, every culture around the world has some variation of the dead rising again, whether it be in a physical form, a spiritual form. I genuinely think that if you just, left 10 people on an island who didn't know anything about the outside world, eventually they would have their own superstitions around the dead rising again. Okay, anyways, let's go back to the beginning a little bit here. Before there were blood-sucking vampires, there were revenants. This is a superstition that really begins to be seen around the 6th or 7th century AD, and it's sort of a blanket term for entities born out of the beliefs and superstitions of various pagan religions. And this is exactly why we can find vampire burials that predate the actual idea of a vampire, because many of the superstitions and precautions surrounding revenants were things which carried over as it was later adopted by Christianity. And we have pretty significant archaeological evidence to suggest that these superstitions also vastly predate the idea of a revenant as well. Take, for example, a grim discovery made by construction workers in the Saxony-Anhalt region of Germany. While working on installing power lines, a construction team discovered human remains. It really is amazing how many of these stories start with a construction worker finding them. It must be insane to stumble across that while you're just, like, on your day job. The Bog Bodies of North America video I did a while ago started in the exact same way. It's just like, oh, we're gonna build a housing development. Corpse. Anyway,
Didn't that happen with Italy too? Wasn't it, not Pompeii, but, like, isn't it, like, so common in Italy? Again, my Italian viewers, you can correct me on this thing, because I remember hearing this, like, as hearsay, that it's so common to find archaeological, like, or ancient artifacts in Rome, or in Italy in general, that when you build anything, you have to, like, do, like, a proper excavation before you actually build in that location. And I could be totally wrong, but I vaguely remember hearing that.
Called in archaeologists to come analyze the site, as they should have, and what they discovered was the grave of a man around the age of 50. He was buried on his side, which is a little unusual, and what's even more unusual is that his grave contained no grave goods, offerings, evidence of clothing, or burial rites. But the most unusual feature of this grave was that he had been buried underneath a massive stone. Not like under a stone, like a headstone, like a stone had been placed on top of his body. This huge flat stone was about 3 feet long and 2.5 feet wide and estimated to weigh around 110 pounds. Did this thing come undone? No, my little fucking thing is undone. Don't let him catch you without your thing. And this massive stone was placed directly on top of the man, with his lower body and legs crushed beneath it. The hypothesis is that this was also to prevent him from rising from the dead. Now, what's so amazing about this site is that it dates back a staggering 4,200 years, almost 3,500 years before the idea of a vampire would even come close to materializing. And this burial is attributed to the bell beaker culture, a culture that I'm sure you all know so much about because it's so commonly talked about all the time. I'm kidding. Of course. I had never heard of it until I made this video. Someone get on that. North02. I feel like North02 should do a video on that. Everyone go ping North02 to make a video on the bell beaker culture. Now, while we're unsure of what the good people of the bell beaker culture would have called a guy rising from the dead and haunting the living, we do know that they clearly had some sort of superstition around it. And if it really is the case that this was a precaution taken to prevent someone from rising from the dead, then this is an indication that the same superstition to prevent this from happening persisted for more than 4,000 years. Because, as we're about to see, this exact same strategy of using a huge rock to pin a body down was a method that was also in use when it came to actual...
Chat, I'm gonna use a big rock to pin you down. Moving on.
Vampire burials, which indicates that while the ideas, concepts, and reasons behind the dead rising again have changed a lot over time, some of the superstitions around how you're supposed to deal with it have actually remained the same for thousands of years. Now, the idea of a vampire as we know it today really began to take shape as pagan practices were co-opted by the Christian church. This may come as a bit of surprise, but before Christianity, a lot of people were pagan, and so the Christian church kind of needed to pander to these people in order to make them think that their guy was better than their guy. And to do this, the Christian church did a whole lot of things sort of pulling from pagan religion. They would kind of co-opt some of their holidays and festivals. They would allow pagan people to still practice some of their beliefs as long as the Christian ones were done alongside it. They would, kill all of them. Little things like that that really make you interested in Jesus and stuff. You know what? I'm sorry, guys. Actually, there's no paganism in Christianity. That's just heathen stuff. It's a complete coincidence that St. John's Day is on the summer solstice, or that Michaelmas is right around the fall equinox, or that Jesus just so happened to be born like right near the winter solstice, or that his resurrection is celebrated
I wonder how he feels about this, huh?
around the moon cycles of the spring equinox. So anyway, sort of co-opting pagan beliefs, it made Christianity a little bit more palatable to the masses. And by around the 10th century AD, it was the Roman Catholic Church that had co-opted, among other things, the pagan idea of a vampire. What I find to be also very interesting about this is it sort of illustrates how, while beliefs and dogmas have changed through time, every single idea that we have today is pulling things from much older versions. The idea of a vampire may be sort of new, but we've sort of been handling it in a traditional way that has been handed down for literally thousands of years. Christianity, a fairly new religion, but it pulls from things that have been handed down for literal thousands of years. This isn't a theology lesson, but I do think it's something that is kind of interesting.
Christianity's already
Now, as the
thousands,
Catholic
but yeah, I
Church
get
began
you.
to sort of Frankenstein on elements of other existing beliefs, the Catholic Church would allow for some groups of pagan people to continue their burial rites and rites and rituals around the dead, as long as the Christian ones were practiced alongside it as well. This obviously wasn't the case in all places, but by doing this, they sort of allowed some of the pagan beliefs around death and spirituality to sort of make their way into the Catholic Christian dogma. And one of the ways that the pagan fear of the revenant began to combine really well with a Christian ideology
I can't not look at the way that this thing's stomach is open in the picture. It just kind of bothers me.
was the Christian idea of the soul, with Christianity claiming that the soul is a separate entity of the body and can exist outside of it. This married very well with the idea that the dead didn't have to stay dead. Though again, like with all cultural and societal phenomena, there's really no like time that this happened. This is something which took place gradually and imperceptibly. But it was the marriage between pagan superstition and Christian conquest that would pave the way for the
The Rise of the Vampire. The title card! The title card! He did it! The thing! He did the thing!
Entering into the Middle Ages is when the idea of a vampire really kind of started to take shape. And as time went on, the fear of the legitimate threat that these creatures posed to the living began to rise to a simmer. Now, in the beginning, these weren't blood-sucking creatures. Initially, it was believed that a vampire could kill you simply by looking at you. But that had to be nerfed because it was absolutely broken. Bad day to be a vampire, though. That would really suck, you know? Like, you're telling me I used to be able to look at these dudes, now I gotta suck them? Now, over time, these creatures began to morph. Instead of being vengeful spirits that
No, actually, never mind. I'm not going to say that.
rose from the dead, they started to become demonic entities. Which honestly is, I would say, a little bit scarier. You know, it's one thing if fucking old, you know, Jim rose from the grave because, you know, he was pissed off at you because you didn't mow his lawn that one time. But if you start telling me that old Joe's rising from the grave because Satan told him to do so, I'd be like, give me some of that Jesus, you know? Now, needless to say, once this thing started to become about Satan and demons and all that stuff, was when the simmering fear sort of rose into a boil. And there is nowhere where this panic was felt quite as viciously as in Eastern Europe. Again, there are many reasons for this, but one of the ones that I think is really important is that at the time, and probably for many generations afterwards, and some could argue probably even till this day, there was an immense amount of generational trauma. You see, around this time, the area had been absolutely devastated by multiple wars, especially in Poland. The trauma of loss and destruction brought on by a vicious war is something that would have permeated really deep into sort of the psyche of the people at the time. And so it's not all that surprising that a place devastated by war was particularly susceptible to superstition and the fan flames of religious panic. Priests working for the church just exacerbated this situation by pointing the finger at witchcraft and demons. This, of course, went on to ignite the
I kind of just like that the demon has like a little smiley face. I just wanted to pause and say that.
Christian fears of demonology and the pagan superstitions that lay just below the surface, which is why it is here in Eastern Europe that the fear of vampires exploded into something much more similar to
Man, I should have waited to watch this until I had the Russian outfit that I'm working on. Damn! Would have been so much more fitting.
Yo, how's it going, everybody? I wanted to pop in here for two reasons. One of which is very important. The not as important one is check out this sick hoodie. I think there's sort of a haunting beauty to vampire burials, and I wanted to try and pay homage to it with a piece of clothing. And so we made this sick design. Now, the second and much more important thing is that this design is going to a good cause. You are here right on time. Come here. As some of you may have heard in the news cycle, Hurricane Helene, this lovely lady right here, my girlfriend, went to school in North Carolina. It is where we met. We spent much of the early part of our relationship in North Carolina, and so especially to her, it's a very important place. So this lovely lady did the design for this. I'll pass this on to you.
Doesn't have a ton to do with Asheville, but we felt like it was really important to do what we can, especially with Milo's reach and audience, to just get the word out and continue to send funds to Asheville. It's been almost a month since all of it happened, and with how quickly the news cycle turns over, it's really easy to hear about the hurricane, be devastated for the first couple weeks, and then move on with your life. But a lot of the people in my community who I love are still dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. My teacher, who is like family to me, doesn't have a way to shower in clean water right now. It's still brown coming out of their tap. So it's really important that we continue to do work within that community and other communities near Asheville that don't.
Terrible and like ignorant thought on my part. Did they ever fix the water in Flint, Michigan? I remember it being a huge problem for a really long time. And then it just kind of stopped being talked about. Did that ever get resolved? No. Oh.
Have as much of a draw that have been pretty much wiped off the map.
We are going to be donating half of all the proceeds of this hoodie to Beloved Asheville, which is a charity that has been working in Western North Carolina and Asheville long before Hurricane Helene, so we can guarantee that the funds that are raised for it are going to continue going to support the long-running restoration effort in Asheville.
They are a nonprofit that does community organizing on a large scale. They have food banks that...
Not to platform off of them talking about charity, I'm only doing this because their charity event is currently over. But just so you guys know, I will be taking part in a SIDS charity stream on Tuesday. So keep like yourself posted, or keep eyes on my posts, and yeah. So I hope you guys will be supportive of that one.
They leave throughout the town, and they also just are widely trusted by Asheville as a community. So if you can donate to them, that would be amazing.
I have also linked a link to Beloved Asheville's direct donation page in the description of this video. We will be making a donation. I encourage any of you that can make a donation, as much as it would be great to have, more purchases of the hoodie, and all donations will go through that. I really encourage you that if you do have the money to spend, skip the hoodie and just go straight to donating. And yeah, I want to thank you all again for watching this, and thank you for your support. And I think that with the amount of people that we have here, we can really make a difference. So from Z and I, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We love you.
Schminky wants you to donate to Hurricane.
Whoa, don't go playing on my soft art like that. Schminky said you have to donate to Beloved Asheville. Vampire hysteria over in Eastern Europe began to really ramp up around the same time as probably the most infamous case of mass hysteria ever recorded. None other than the Salem witch trials. In the 1690s, panic broke out in the rural farming town of Salem on the north shore of my home state of Massachusetts. 30 individuals were found guilty of witchcraft, of which 19 were put to death. Fuck, too many witches. Too many witches. Now, I know what you think when you hear that. You think, wow, that is an excellent opportunity for a tourist-based economy. Look, I'm not gonna hate, okay? I'm a masshole at heart, but whenever I drive through Salem and I see, like, cute little pictures of witches in the windows, I'm like, you know that they, like, lynched these people, right? This wasn't, like, a cutesy, like, crystal girly shop kind of situation. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. How long does it take before it's okay for a mass tragedy to turn into a...
How much of a horrible goal would that be for me to make one of these streams? Where I'll be like, oh, if we achieve X goal, I will sit and react to crystal girly shops. We could learn about Reiki and all about the astrology of things. Wouldn't that be fun? Chat, wouldn't that be fun?
Fucking tourist destination. I'm thinking about opening up a t-shirt shop in Jonestown. Come for the Kool-Aid? Stay.
Use grape flavoring.
I need a little more vino. Now, the witch...
I have my vino too. Just check. The Flint water crisis began in 2014. The final lead pipe, which were the primary association, was replaced in the July 1st of 2025. That is insane. That is insane. So are they still using bottled water for everything? Because that's crazy.
Trials were pretty insane. Even though only 19 people were put to death, more than 20 people were accused of witchcraft. That's a lot of people. Wait, did I say 20? Did I say 20? I meant 200. If I didn't say 200, I meant 200, not 20. Well, the root causes of the Salem witch trials are something which are undoubtedly going to be debated until eternity. What is clear is that this was not an isolated incident. Around this time, across the Anglo-Christian world, panic had broken out over the presence of demonic entities, and the fear of demons, Satan, and witchcraft were at a fevered pitch. Now, at the same time as the Salem witch trials, a different kind of occult-based panic was happening across the ocean, where the fear of vampires had transcended from a old superstition into a genuine concern. And as a result, people were persecuted accordingly. Take, for example, this instance, which is recorded by an Austrian official in about 1725. This story takes place in a town in Serbia. One of the townspeople, a man by the name of, oh no, Petar Blagojevich. Petar Blagojevich. How'd I do?
Blagojevich?
Yay! I didn't do very good, did I? One of the townspeople by the name of Petar had passed away. After his death, they did all the things you do when someone dies. You know, bury him, get really drunk, all that stuff. But normally when someone dies, it's kind of over once the last shovel goes in, you know? But not in this case. In just the 8 days following Petar's death, 9 other people in the village would die of a sudden and mysterious illness. Now that is a little bit weird, but what makes it even weirder is that almost every single one of them allegedly claimed to have had visions of Petar strangling them. There are even versions of this story where it said that Petar would return to the house of his widow and son and demand to be let in. In those versions of the story, it ends in a few different ways. In the good version, the widow and the son flee town. And in the bad version, the widow flees town and Petar breaks into the house and kills his son in cold blood. Now, needless to say...
Wait. I did a genealogy deep dive to my family history. One of my ancestors on my maternal grandfather's side is essentially a witch hunter in Salem. That's horrible! That is horrible!
People weren't exactly thrilled that all of this was happening. It was a little bit weird. So they went to the priest and they were like, dude, this is like kind of your thing, right? And the priest was like, this is completely above my pay grade. I'm gonna try and get some advice from the church higher ups. We're gonna figure out what we can do about this situation. But that wasn't good enough for the villagers, and frankly, I don't really blame them. After all, allegedly, you know, multiple people had been killed by Ghost Peter. You never know if you're going to be the one who's next. So they decided to take matters into their own hands. As the story goes, the townspeople exhumed Petar's body to inspect it for signs of vampirism. And when they did, they found him as though he had just died. His skin was unblemished, his nails were a little bit longer, and allegedly his once clean-shaven face now had a beard. As you can imagine, the townspeople weren't exactly stoked. They were like, who? That's fucked up. I know what we gotta do about this. So they dragged Petar out of the grave and staked him through the heart, where, again as the story goes, he bled as though he had just died. Now to really drive this point home to Petar, they decided—
Plot twist, he was never dead, he was just a narcoleptic and they assumed he was dead.
to finish the job by building an enormous funeral pyre and burning him to ash. At which point, allegedly, the hauntings and mysterious deaths in the village stopped altogether. Now, did this actually happen? I have no idea. Is it very possible that this was the result of a disease in town or something like that, and it was a compounded series of unrelated circumstances that resulted in this crazy outlandish story about a man rising from the dead? Quite probable. Is it a sick story nonetheless? Abso-fucking-lutely. But either way, there's no use playing Monday Night Quarterback with this, because at this point, people genuinely thought vampires were a threat and that they were killing people. And so elaborate rituals were concocted to keep the dead actually dead. Just like at the Salem witch trials, the things that drew accusations of vampirism varied immensely. But unlike at the Salem witch trials in Massachusetts, most of the people who were accused of vampirism were already dead, which I guess was good for them. because it was not good for the people in Salem. Because vampires are something that rose from the dead, it was normally the circumstances around a person's death that would draw actors or something good for them. Because it was not good for...
Okay, so this one was pressed to death. Now, if I remember correctly, all of the witch trials, there was a caveat. I mean, it was a lose-lose, right? It was always a lose-lose of, you know, if you drowned, you were human. If you floated to the surface, you're a witch. You know, if you don't burn, you're a witch. Like, all that stuff, right? What did the stone pressing prove? What did stone pressing prove?
The people in Salem. Because vampires are something that rose from the dead, it was normally the circumstances around a person's death that would draw accusations of vampirism. So real quick, I think it's important to go over the many bizarre reasons that people would be accused of being Alright, reasons that people may be a vampire. Speedrun. You died a violent death. Skill issue. Did you die and then there was a natural disaster after you died? Your fault. Vampire. Were you the first to die in an epidemic that other people would then die of? Your fault. Oh, here's a pretty big one. Are you unbaptized? Yeah, I could smell that. Are you from here? No? Vampire. Were the rituals and ceremonies around your death not good enough for me or our village? Then, probably a vampire. This one, this one I'm not going to make a joke about because it's a little depressing, but dying at a sort of significant time in your life or in a sort of significant way. This could be something like dying during childbirth or around a marriage, drowning, murder, suicide, execution.
Vampire.
I'm just like listing words that'll get me demonetized, aren't I? Did you do something that would get you demonetized on YouTube? Vampire. Sure, your death may have been followed by a natural disaster, which would mean you're a vampire, but were you also the first one to die in a natural disaster? Vampire. Do you look a little weird? Vampire. And then, of course, the big ticket item, diseases. You know, they didn't know a lot about diseases, and so, vampire. Did you have, rabies, cholera, malaria, or a mental disorder like, I don't know, schizophrenia or something like that? Vampire. Now, all of these examples are things that have to do with the circumstances around an individual's death. But beyond just these, there's also a whole ton of things that have to do with you after you die that could also get you accused of being a vampire. Was it found that your burial shroud was decomposing faster in your mouth than anywhere else?
Wait, what?
Vampire. Weird little note here. A lot of the time this was discovered by grave robbers, which I think is funny. You guys aren't gonna believe this. Old Jim over on the hill, his burial shroud's decomposing in his mouth. How did you figure that out? Vampire! Are you dead and someone had a bad dream about you? Well, yep, you're a vampire then. Did a member of your family become ill after you died? You already know the answer to that one. And then there's all kinds of gross ones about blood, like if there's blood coming out of your mouth, out of your ears, if your belly becomes bloated, which are all things that can happen when a person has, you know, died. Is your body pliable? Vampire. Is your body not pliable? Probably also a vampire. I don't fucking know anymore. Are you growing a beard or hair? Rogaine. Vampire. Did you die and look a little bit too fresh?
Vampire.
Fresh. Did you die and look a little too fresh? Right on. Or if your body was moved after burial. And if you got like uprooted, put somewhere else. Maybe also by those pesky grave robbers. You know, old Jim, his burial shroud was decomposing in his mouth, so we decided to just bury him somewhere else. I decided to bury him in the neighbor's yard. Oh, god damn it, he wasn't a vampire then, but he sure as shit is now. Now, the tricky thing about being accused of being a vampire is that you really can't actually do anything about it in the fact that you're dead, which normally makes it very hard to do pretty much anything. But for the living, to whom this was probably the greatest level of concern, they couldn't just let you sit there being all vampire-y and stuff. Okay, so what did they actually do to prevent these people from rising from the dead? Now, a couple things worth noting here. One, superstitions and practices varied a lot from place to place. And two, again, content warning, as if you didn't need it already for that whole last part.
Pressing was a torture method to elicit confessions where you'd be slowly crushed by increasingly heavier rocks. Giles Corey refused to confess, and they just kept telling him more wait until... So basically, again, it was one of those things where it's like you either confess and then are guilty, or you don't confess and they just end you.
If you made it this far, I promise it's nothing you can't handle. Now, fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess, there are countless graves across Eastern Europe that paint a grisly picture of those accused. Oh, man. It's getting colder in here. I think I need to put on a jacket. Okay, look, I was gonna put on like a cool, like black jacket because it would be cool, but it is just so goddamn cold in here that I don't think I have a choice but to put on this wool coat. I am now Boris, the Soviet vampire. I found this jacket at a yard sale, and it was like $10, and I was like, ooh, $10 for a wool jacket, that's kind of cool. And I looked at it, and it has a little fucking tank on it. And then I looked inside it, and I'm like, oh shit, this thing's old. And I'm like 90% sure this is like an actual like Soviet military jacket or something. I don't know enough about military history to pin it, but maybe someone in the comments.
That's kind of cool.
This is what you get. Have a look. Yeah, have a little look. There we go. Okay, someone can diagnose it from there. But either way, my name is, I am now Vlad. Vlad the Impala. Vlad the Tame Impala. Is that Tame Impala? I don't know. I don't listen to them. I'm not a fucking normie.
Again, he's killing me with these. Oh my god, it's gonna
like
get
I said earlier,
again.
there are a lot of vampire burials in Poland. Oh god, I have to pronounce names now. For example, like at Drasko Pomorski. I feel like that's pretty good, but I kind of doubt it. In this town, archaeologists discovered the remains of a cemetery. It dated to around the 17th or 18th century and contains 6 individuals, and it's believed that all of them died of cholera. That being said, almost every single individual in this cemetery was found buried with the elaborate burial superstitions that are reserved for vampires. In one grave were the remains of a man aged between 35 and 45. Him, just like the rest of the people found in the cemetery, were buried in a simple wooden box. And this individual had been buried on his back with a small sickle over his throat. This was another common burial superstition to prevent the rising of the vampire, as it was believed that if they tried to get up, they would decapitate themselves. I mean, I guess it's kind of smart. I feel like they probably could have just decapitated them, but whatever. There was also the remains of a young...
What would that solid, like, the blade's not gonna go through your neck if it's just resting there? Huh?
Woman between 16 and 19 years old, and she was found with a copper headband around her forehead, a copper coin near her mouth, and as if that wasn't enough, also a sickle over her neck. Some kind of restraint is something that will also be seen a lot at these burials. In this case, a copper headband intended to keep an individual pinned to the ground so they couldn't rise again. There was also the remains of a woman between 30 and 40 found with a sickle across her neck and a coin in her mouth. Coins are, and kind of always have been, part of various superstitions. In this case, made to ward off evil spirits. It's also believed that things like coins and stones would be placed in the mouths of people accused of vampirism so that they would have something to bite down on, so that they couldn't rise from the dead and go on to bite you. I don't know if they thought that someone could just spit the coin out and then bite you.
What were the Polish people thinking? Like, I understand superstitions are nonsensical. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful of culture, but like, what goes through your head to be like, ah, yes, if I put this coin in their mouth, this coin will stop them from having the urge to bite me because they're biting the coin. Huh?
But I don't know, it was worth a try, I guess. Along with this, there was the remains of a woman between the ages of 35 and 40 who was also found with a sickle over her neck and a coin in her mouth. But this individual also had a crushed skull. Now, it's believed that this was due to heavy machinery driving over the site beforehand. But I'm not exactly sure. I hope that it was due to heavy machinery. I really hope so, because it is also known that one of the other methods of dealing with a vampire is to crush them with a rock. There was also the remains of a woman between the ages of 50 and 60 who was found with a whole smorgasbord of things to stop her from vampiring, a sickle across her waist, a coin in her mouth, and a stone placed on top of her throat to stop her jaw from opening, and a lack of teeth. It's believed that the teeth were removed post-mortem, which could indicate that that was also a precaution taken to prevent her from vampiring. The sickle across her waist is another one that becomes common in later burials. burials. Just like the belief of putting it across their neck, it was believed that if you put it across their midriff, they would cut themselves in half when they rise up, which would be really hard to do, but I guess, again, worth a shot, you know, worth a shot. It's that or vampires, so you may as well try it. And lastly, the remains of a young individual whose age and sex were unable to be identified, who was found with a stone placed over their throat. This is one of the most expansive vampire graveyards found pretty much anywhere, but it is far from the only one, and definitely far from the only one in Poland. Take, for example, the vampire discovery in Peen. Peen. Isn't that the band that wrote Ocean Man?
Oh no, that will get copyrighted. I know Ocean Man will get
discovered the
copyrighted.
remains of a woman who was buried around the 17th century. Elements from her burial indicated that she was of a fairly high social status, for example, garments made of silk, but, and critically, she had a snaggletooth, which, as we discussed before, could have been enough evidence to suspect that she was a vampire. Though I'd imagine there were probably other circumstances around her death that led people to believe this. But either way, the way we know people think she was a vampire is because she was buried with a sickle across her a sickle across her neck, a coin in her mouth, and a padlock on her toe. This is another trend that was believed to keep vampires from rising. Locks either on their toes or shackling their legs together. It is a little bit unusual that a woman of presumably high social status was treated in this way, but again, as is the case with many archaeological sites, we will never know exactly what the circumstances were around her death, which is so goddamn frustrating. Okay, last one from Poland. Why don't we have a look at the discovery from Helm? No, I'm going American. Chelm. Here was discovered the remains of a child's grave from around the 13th century, kind of at the very beginning of when the vampire myth began to resemble what it does today. Now, I'm not exactly sure why this is, but this one is, for some reason, way more gruesome than all the other ones. The individual at this burial site was crushed beneath huge, heavy stones. And, as if that hadn't been enough, they had been decapitated and their severed head placed face down into the grave. Damn. This is another element of the superstition around vampires, that if you've buried them face down or put at least their head face down, they wouldn't know which way is up. I don't know what sort of empirical evidence they were using to try and prove that was the case, but I don't know, maybe they just really thought vampires were stupid or didn't have an internal compass. Guys, whoa, let's step away from Poland here for a second. This is getting out of control. Let's have a quick look at the mother country, fucking Italy. Okay, we've already talked about the vampire of Lugnano, the 5th century remains of a child found in the child cemetery. But that is not the only vampire burial found in the mother country. There's also the vampire of Venice, found in the Lazzaretto Nuovo, which I actually touched on at the very beginning of this video. It was the one that British guy was talking about in that TikTok. This is proof that vampires used to live in, what did he say? On the world. Was it on the world or in the world? It was something that didn't make any fucking sense. Tell me your little funny jokes, little man.
This is proof that vampires used to live on the world.
Here's proof that vampires used to live on the world. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm looking at my outfit that I had then. I got hotter.
Found of Lazzaretto Nuovo in Venice.
Lazzaretto Nuovo. I tried to pronounce it then too. I probably fucked it up as much now as I did then. Anyway, this woman was found buried in a mass plague grave. This aligns with what we were talking about earlier, that people could be accused of vampirism if they died in a plague, if they were the first one to catch it, or something like that. Okay, we're gonna shift our perspective a little bit. Let's have a last little look at Bulgaria. Firstly, let's have a look at the vampire of Perpericon. Perpericon. Here the discovery was made of the remains of a 40-year-old man dating back to about the 13th century. His remains were found staked through the heart with an iron rod, probably the most classic of vampire hunting techniques. This is similar to another discovery made in Sozopol, Bulgaria, where the remains of 2 men dating to the medieval period were also found staked through the heart. And
I was trying to see if they had the sickle on them.
lastly, in Debelt. You gotta put the belt on the pants so they don't fall down.
I'm so happy that he said what I was thinking.
You gotta put the belt on the pants, you're gonna be arrested for public indecency. Here, the remains of 6 individuals from the medieval period were discovered, and there is evidence to suggest that all of them had been nailed down through their hands, feet, and torsos. These discoveries are also sort of the tip of the iceberg. There are many more and countless more to be discovered. So while these burials have helped us understand some of the ways that you're supposed to, deal with a vampire, there are plenty
Hold on
more.
1 second. I need timestamp for this, please. I gotta mute. Okay, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. Okay, this is a really good example. I'm gonna give you guys a little. I'm gonna leave this in the video too. I'm gonna leave all this in the video. That is a perfect example of why I don't like using a specific company. So a food company, right? A food company that did meals, meal delivery service, right? I'm not gonna say the actual name or anything, but we'll just call them Schmello Schmesh. I canceled their service, and they have actually come to my house and knocked on my door with a physical solicitor, and they have started to call me like a telemarketer. If that does not show you a bad service, I do not know what else will. Moving on.
Many people suspected of vampirism were buried with a few different burial customs for redundancy. In case decapitating them didn't work, you wanted to crush them with a rock as well. Like, dot your I's, cross your T's and shit like that. Some of the ones that we touched on that had a few variations of were classic decapitation. While the site we looked at had the individual decapitated and the head face placed down, in other locations the head would be decapitated and placed between the knees. There are also instances of shackles or locks binding the legs and arms to the ground. Some actually took this idea a step further and just cut the legs off, which seems thorough. I know that I certainly wouldn't be able to rise from the dead if I didn't have legs. I also know that I certainly wouldn't be able to rise from the dead. Another interesting one that we sort of touched on is burying an individual face down. There was some belief that if the individual was not facing the direction they needed to go to rise from their grave, they would either just dig farther into the ground, or instead of biting a person, they just bite the dirt. Again, I'm honestly, if I were a vampire, I'd be a little offended, because it kind of seems like a lot of people just thought they were really stupid. Like, if I was an undead entity, do you really think I'd fall for the old sickle over the neck trick? There are also undoubtedly countless vampires that we don't know about because they were cremated. Probably the ultimate move in preventing something from rising from the living is to just make it literally not even exist anymore. And in a weird twist of irony, this was actually probably a decent way of dealing with things like the plague, which people did attribute to vampirism at one point. But I guess bodies are incapable of actually spreading the plague once they have been turned to dust. We've also seen multiple examples of stakes being driven through the body. The classic and most infamous one of these is a stake driven through the heart, but sometimes these were also done in order to pin the individual to the ground. And the last and very bizarre one of these is sewing needles through the belly button, which makes me a little bit uncomfortable even saying those words out loud. But look at you, you're not uncomfortable by that. You're cool and different.
No,
yeah, I don't know, I kind of like gore. I think gore is kind of cool, All of these superstitions seem kind of ridiculous by our modern standards. It's easy for us to sit here with the perspective that we have and look back in time at these people and be like, what a bunch of idiots. But I want to remind you that these acts were committed by people exactly like you and I. These were not some different species. These were not some backwards twisted barbarians. These were people who were just brought up at a different time. It's easy for us to pedestalize ourselves today, to think that we are so much better and more intelligent than those in the past. But it bears repeating that if any of us had lived at this time, we very easily could have been the person wielding this.
I mean, look, the reality is that for the most part, people are more intelligent now because of the fact that they've been exposed to actual books and they actually have access to information. Not like, I'm not saying I'm smart. I'm not saying everybody's smart. There's dumbasses everywhere. But I mean, just to be a contrarian to Milo's take here, I for the most part, your typical person is going to be more intelligent today than your typical person, back in yesteryear that was claiming that putting a body upside down would stop it from digging to the surface.
Steak, or the one on the other end of it. Because if we look...
and people now drink raw milk, but let's be real, people back then did too. All the dumb things that happen today, regardless, we're not going to get into politics, but for all the dumb things that happen today, they would absolutely have happened back then. We just have some people who are not going to be like that,
Far enough back into the shadows of the past and things begin to get hazy, we take for granted the fact that today we know a lot. Maybe, some might argue, a little bit too much. But as we look backwards into the shadows, we can see that for all of human history, perhaps even until this day, all of our actions have been dictated by one thing. The fear of the...
Oh my god. The title cards. The title cards.
Today, people are not accused of being vampires.
You aren't being a contrarian, you're agreeing with him. He's saying that if you grew up back then, you would be as dumb. I mean, I guess so. I guess so. Yeah, no, I probably misinterpreted the point that he was trying to make, because it felt like he was trying to be like, because the way he initiated it was saying, it's like, oh, you think you're so smart, where it's a matter of being like, these people are the same, Yeah, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. Yeah, okay.
We can sit in our living room couches or on our bus ride home from school and look at memes about them,
New York City,
and TV shows about them, or read a book about them. They can be funny, they can be a little bit scary, they can be sexy, they can be super gay, but if there's one thing that they aren't, it's real. Now, you could easily say that at the time these burials happened, vampires weren't real then either. But they may as well have been, because they dictated the way that people actually lived their lives. The actions that people took at this time were done with the understanding that vampires were a very real threat. So even if vampires didn't really exist then, does it really matter if people acted as though they did? So what changed? As time went on, many of the superstitions that would make people accuse others of vampirism began to be more understood. Things like germ theory were discovered, unlocking the wonderful and horrifying world of biological diseases. Once we knew what germs and bacteria and plagues were, we did not need to pin things on vampires and the dead. Along with this, science made great strides in understanding death, what happens to a body post-mortem, and that many of the unusual phenomena once attributed to vampires are just a natural part of the decomposition process. In fields like natural science, disasters were understood more. Droughts, tornadoes, floods, and hurricanes all began to be understood as natural phenomena not attributed to the supernatural. And so yet again, the use for vampires faded into obscurity. By the 1800s, the scientific revolution had really found its stride, and with it, it drove the final proverbial stake through the heart of the vampire myth. With so much of a better understanding of the world that we live in, we no longer had need for these baseless superstitions. And so the fear of the dead rising and wreaking havoc among the living, a superstition which had existed for literally thousands of years, finally came to an end. And so these creatures finally became endearing characters of pop culture rather than vicious demonic entities. But the superstition around vampires hasn't been entirely laid to rest. In 2004 in Romania, a family member of a recently deceased man was complaining of having horrible nightmares, visions and hallucinations of him rising and wreaking havoc on the world of the living. In response to this, the man's body was exhumed from the town's cemetery. First, a stake was driven through his heart, and then his heart was removed. After this, his heart was burned to ash and made into a potion in order to cure the family members who had been suffering from these hallucinations. I will highlight again, this was in 2004. Fear of the unknown will drive people to do outlandish things, and this is why it's so important for us to understand the world around us. With every scientific advancement and discovery, we get a little bit closer to knowing. I have a great memory of, in my early years of college, there was a group, who will remain nameless, on my college campus who made a big stink on Indigenous Peoples Day. These individuals were firm believers that it should go back to being Columbus Day, and they backed up this belief by trying to say that in the New World, all of the people that were here were a bunch of uncivilized barbarians.
Oh,
yes, these were college students, I know, they should have known better. And the way they backed this up was by posting a bunch of propaganda images made by Spanish conquistadors showing human sacrifice and things like that. Now, I thought this was hilarious for a myriad of reasons. One, shut the fuck up, and two, do they know barbaric cultural practices are not a market that are cornered in one part of the world? The immediate example that came to my mind was the Spanish Inquisition. You want to talk about ritualistic sacrifice? Or the Salem witch trials? Huh, weird, a bunch of white people killing each other over a religious belief? My point with this is not to point fingers or make some big political statement here. It's the fact that when people are fearful of the unknown, they make terrifying and horrible decisions. This is why it is all the more important to study science and to understand.
But like, this is one of the reasons why people always say how like the churches have taken advantage of people, because they take advantage of your fear of the unknown and the fear of death.
Understand the world around us. Because while it's easy today to understand and accept the fact that vampires and witches have never existed, and that sacrificing people would never change how much rain is going to fall, does any of that really matter to the people to whom that may as well have been true? So finally, while we enjoy this crisp fall weather and watch our favorite vampire shows or movies, I think it's worthwhile to take a moment to humble ourselves and think about how far we've come, and remind ourselves of the places that bear the bones of people to whom the idea of a vampire wasn't just a silly fairy tale. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all for watching. And I'd like to give a big thank you to all of my returning viewers. Bonus points if you're watching this at the live premiere, Sunday nights 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'd like to give a big welcome to all of my new viewers. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy this video, I humbly ask you sauce an interaction of some kind. I make all of my educational content on YouTube for free, and interactions help boost the algorithm to let you keep watching it for free. Like I always say, it's like tipping the bellhop, except it's free. I would also like to give a massive thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Patrons get early ad-free access to all of my videos and their names in the credits of all my videos as a small token of my appreciation. If you'd like to become a patron, the link to that is in the description. Wow, well that was a fun one. I've never filmed this late at night before. This is fucking weird. It's like, it's honestly a very spooky night out there, fellas. I'm gonna be honest. It is like 38 degrees and raining. There's been like rain like sheeting against the windows of the studio I'm in, and it's completely dark through the rest of the room. It's just, I have one light shining at my face and then the candles behind me. I cannot see anything else. I keep seeing like my reflection in the window off to my side, and it's like startling me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching this video. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and that you maybe even learned a thing or two. Remember to stay curious, stay inquisitive, and most importantly, happy Halloween.
That was great. That was a great time. All right. Let me close out of that. Let me get some music playing. I only have to get through one more video. One more video and then I am free. Okay. Last up, we have the Dylan. We have Dylan! And then I get to go edit. Yay! Yay, and then I don't have to deal with any more actuallys for a day. Oh man, I can't wait. Oh man, I could go a full like 20 hours without an actually. Oh, it's amazing. Milo's always a pleasure. He brings out fun discussions. Yeah. I got here from one of the Milo reacts. Oh, welcome in, Tammy. Welcome in. Finally got back to PC. Thanks, Tetra. Your voice and Milo's are like a gentle massage to my head. Ah, of course. Yay, editing. Look, the editing software can't actually me. It's fine. It's fine. Is the next one about Grievous? We watched the Grievous video. But we love your company. I love yours too sometimes. No talk after the last video. I don't really have the patience threshold for half of chat right now, so I just want to get through the rest of my videos and be done for the day and start editing. I think that that's the right call. The software would if it could. I'm sure. We'll be doing the 3-part series on Shane vibes with him, probably. At least the editing does. It's true. My gratitude cannot be overstated. It's like listening to my migraine receive. Aw. Actually, chatting with you just activates autism. I don't think that that's a good thing. Okay, alright, let me get the last video ready. Hopefully it doesn't start automatically. It did start automatically, but that's okay, it's okay. It's gonna start off with just Dylan taking a bite of something. Alright. Actually, you're kinda awesome. Alright, let's go into the next one. I relive later well, the live stream is gonna probably stay up. It probably won't be members only. Depends on how I feel afterwards. We'll see. It might be members only, it might not be. Either way, the videos will all come out one after another. I have a lot of work that I need to get done, so it's all good. I have shit to do. See y'all another time. Stay safe. Take it easy, Gus. Alright. Let me get this ready. Okay. We are on the final part. The final section of the good videos from Dylan Hollis. Let's go.
Potato donuts from the Great Depression.
I don't really think of potato donuts and depression, but you know what? Let's see.
Now I say that disrespecting donuts should carry a life sentence, so let's see if we're going to jail today, huh? Peel and boil 2 russets.
You know, a lot of things start with potatoes, French fries.
I mean,
hash
potato
browns,
starch is good for like
famine,
everything.
Communism.
Potatoes are finished when they're soft.
Yes, I've noticed that with men, too.
Oh!
Once the potatoes are cool, we add a cup of buttermilk, pack of yeast, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and a half teaspoon of soda. Half cup of melted butter. Don't kill the yeasty boys. They're working very hard. 4, 8, 7 them. Add enough flour to make a dough. Putting your faith in the wrong man.
I bet these are gonna be good.
Sugar! 2 cups! Told you not to trust me! This took about 6.5 cups of flour. Now we let it rise for an hour.
That's a lot of
This is the
dough.
first time we're deep frying. Cinnamon sugar.
Oh, that looks so good. No, that's probably so good.
Oh! Best donut I've made. A pound cake from 1904.
Pound cake's
cake
fine.
is one of my favorite things to do, but I'm single, so it's been a while. It's called such because the traditional recipe is a pound each.
You know what? All the power to him. I thought he would be on the other end of it.
Of butter, sugar, eggs, and flour. Nothing else. We start by beating the butter. Now we slowly cream in a pound of sugar. Oh boy!
Oh,
Now
God.
I'm beating and creaming by hand because, as any man could tell you, that's how we all first learned.
Oh my God. The innuendos are going hard.
Good heavens! How many eggs? 9. We beat them in gradually. This is wild.
This
And
is more than a
finally, the
pound of
flour.
material.
Fold into a bunt. We bake this in a moderately slow oven for 80 to 100 minutes. Hello.
Oh no!
I really just JFK'd this cake.
He failed at making a pound cake.
Man, that's wonderful. For something that doesn't have any flavoring at all, you would not believe it. With a texture like nothing else. It's very good. But we
Yeah,
don't
pound
talk
cake is
about
good.
this.
Pound cake's
Rice
really
bread
good.
from World War I. This recipe happens
Rice
to be
bread.
gluten-free. As if 1918 wasn't miserable.
As I've said before, it's very likely that I am gluten intolerant, but I just eat stuff with gluten in it anyway, and I feel like crap afterwards. I actually, fun fact for you all, I'm supposed to get tested because of the baby, because I need to get tested because it's genetic, right? So the reason why I think that I've always been concerned because whenever having things that have gluten in it, I tend to feel pretty sick afterwards. I don't feel that great. But I've always been like, it's probably just, you know, something with my digestion. It's probably not. I'm not one of those people. I'm not a stereotype. I don't need to be a gluten intolerant. And then my uncle tells me, Tetra, turns out that I have celiacs and I'm gluten intolerant. You should be tested because it's genetic. And I just say no. The second I get tested, it's confirmed that all of it's real. So I'm just literally holding it off, still eating all of my pizza and bagels until I just either keel over or I'm required to get tested for the sake of my daughter.
Enough. We begin with a half cup of white rice. Water! The rice is resigned to be overcooked. Why you gotta say it like that? It sounds like a court order. I hereby sentence you to be overcooked. Fire! cup and a half of cornmeal, 2 tablespoons of margarine, then 1.5 cups of milk. Scolded. You useless! Do you mean scalded with an A? He's like, nah, fam, that ain't no typo. I want you to yell at your milk. Hot, 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 eggy. Well, the rice resigned, all right. It is no longer with us. 1 cup exactly.
That is some very overcooked rice. Oh my god.
Baking powder. Is this bread going to space? Bake for a half hour.
Just tolerate it, you bigot!
Yes, I know it's hot, you get. It's an oven.
I will not tolerate my gluten!
Like a really smooth, fluffy cornbread.
I'm sorry, I need to pause because I will now forever use that term, Schrodinger's celiac. Thank you. That is forever going to be the term I associate with myself. It is Schrodinger's celiac.
The rice does more than you think. Thank you. Scotcheroos from 1965. So Rice Krispie treats were invented all the way back in 1939 at the Kellogg's Company in Battle Creek, Michigan, and have since become the most dominant Rice Krispie confection. But 26 years later, they came up with these, a lesser-known variant, which we are going to try today. In a big old pan.
Well, these are made by Kellogg's as well?
Syrup, followed by a cup of sugar. Excessive. Fire! Bring this to a boil to create a cavity-inducing syrup. Charming. Next, we remove from heat and add in a cup of peanut butter.
Oh!
Mix. Then in goes 5 cups of Rice Krispies. You know, I've never understood America's obsession with breakfast cereals. Whatever was wrong starting your middle school mornings crying over a sad bowl of oatmeal? That was character building. Good old liquid cardboard. Anyway, this is rather dense. In this goes to a 13.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
While that's cooling, we melt a cup of butterscotch chips and a cup of chocolate chips.
Oh my
over
god,
a
this is
double
gonna
boil.
be so
Now
good.
just spread it on and cool completely. Yes.
Oh, I would love this.
Man, these are good. These are better than Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah, no,
Survival bread from 1970.
You know, like, you know when you say things that you might regret saying, I would put that inside of me. I'm gonna be very frank with you. That would be inside of me so fast you have no idea. That looks incredible.
This bread is claimed to last upwards of 7 years, or roughly the amount of time it's taken me to get my bachelor's degree. We start with a cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of honey, the same of water. Then we bring to a boil with a pack of lemon jello. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that jello is inevitable. Oh, we love jello. Shut up. Fire. For the dry ingredients, we need 2.5 cups of powdered milk, 2 cups of oats. Oh, stop that! How am I going to survive the apocalypse if I can't survive oats? Once whatever this is has boiled, you add it to the dry. Oh, should fit. Add a bit of water if we need to. Sweetie, this needs a lot of things, but water isn't one of them. Then we mold it into a brick.
Huh.
So sticky. 30 minutes, 350.
What is this?
Huh. This is an enigma. It is quite dry, but not in a bad way, like a biscotti. I would take this camping. Tang
I would
cookies
take it
from
camping, that's
1969. Hey. Now this recipe is from Nebraska. Nebraska, are you okay? We begin with 3/4 of a cup of Tang. Might I remind you that this is a cookie with drink mix. Followed by a 1/2 cup of sugar. Any dentists out there? 2 egg teeth. And 2/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. That's a choice whisk. Jeez,
That is a hell of a choice. Wait, what?
Nebraska. Now the dry ingredients are dry. 2 cups of flour. 2 teaspoons of floof powder. And a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I expected Nebraskans to be saltier since they live in Nebraska. Combine, mix. 350 for about 12 to 15 minutes.
What the hell?
I know. Oh, I know.
I'm just gonna say, just by looking at them, I bet they're good. I mean, the whole video is good ones, right? So we know that these are gonna be good, but like, they just look good. They look like little cornbreads. I know it's not what they are, it just looks like it.
Nebraska. They are quirky, but not bad. It's tangy. I would bake them a little less, though, like 10 to 12 minutes. But thank you, Nebraska. A tomato soup cake from 1950. Ah! What's the difference between margarine and shortening? The amount of time spent on the toilet. Need reinforcements. Sugar in a carton. Creamy. Sift your flour 3 times. Late.
How is tomato soup gonna? I know it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be like a savory, right? So
Your cake has tomato soup in it. This is the least of your worries. Cloves, cinnamon, and nutmeg. With the soup. Can't hide from me. I wish you could. Bloop. Siminem. No. 911, what's your emergency? Yeah, that lady Carol is at the barbecue again. Careful not to overmix. Sorry, I'm just trying to kill it. It smells like a hospital. Tomato spice. If pumpkin spice got hit by a bus. At least it's not moving. Icing. Yeah. Shut up.
What?
Doesn't taste like tomato. Tastes like chocolate. A Valentine's
What?
cream pie from...
What? Huh? Okay. I'm sure that this is gonna lead to a cream pie joke, right?
I'm 59. Now I can't think of anything better for Valentine's Day than a good old-fashioned cream pie. And this one features the maraschino cherry pastry. Hello.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Question about maraschino cherries. Do you guys love them? Because when I used to bartend, I used to pop those things like candy. Really bad for you, but I used to love them.
For the pie pan, we're going to want a 9-inch. I know I do too. If you've got one, don't just force it in. Be gentle. Now, whether or not to edge is up to you. Some people aren't that patient. Blind bake at 425 for 15 minutes.
Again with the blind baking. Always the blind
This
baking.
finished a bit early. Happens to the best of us. Into a saucepan goes a cup of sugar, quarter cup cornstarch, 2 eggies, 2 cups of moo juice, quarter cup of cherry juice. Hopefully it'll be pink. Bring this to a boil and stir constantly. Fire! If your hand gets tired, just keep going. I'm single, so I'm used to it. Once it's thickened, we remove from heat and add in a half cup of chopped cherries. In you go.
Oh,
to the
this.
fridge.
Oh,
Next,
it
a cup of
looks
cream
awful
whipped.
though.
Some people are into that.
I'm sure it's fine, but it looks
Now we get to
awful.
top. That's always fun. I like that. Very sweet, but I like it. Velveeta fudge
I hear the BB.
from 1984. There are a lot of ways to make
Yeah.
fudge, but
You know what? BB doesn't like hearing Velveeta fudge. Is that what it is? She doesn't like Velveeta fudge. Yeah, you don't want me to make you some Velveeta fudge, BB? I can make that for you and Mama. Oh, she wants some Velveeta fudge. Okay. I gotta make it for her and Yura.
most of which aren't as problematic as this, but then again, who are we to fault the 80s? Start with a cup of butter in a heavy pan. I reckon this is a heavy pan. Heavy with the burden of whatever crime it is I'm going to commit. We melt that
Again,
down
always
with
him with the crop tops. He rocks them.
a half pound of Velveeta. Neither scientist nor scholar knows precisely what Velveeta is. It is the occult, the great unknown. Fire! Well, this is...
So, I never knew what Velveeta was until I was like 16. I think I discovered Velveeta when I was 16. So I spent a good portion of my life not even knowing what it was.
Already critically disturbing. In goes half a cup of cocoa powder. It's cheesy. Next up is 2 pounds of powdered sugar. Hold on. Yes, I see. It's the whole bag. I'm no mathematician, but I'm not sure how this whole bag's gonna fit in here, Mildred. Her name is Mildred. This is not gonna work. It's not. Oh, no way. Oh, it's alive. Ooh. Finally, you take off the heat and add in some Nutella. Oh, it's like a tumor. To the fridge.
It's like a tumor. No way. No way. Velveeta fudge slaps. No way.
That's a good fudge. A wacky cake from the Great Depression. So the stock market's crashed and we can't afford any butter, eggs, or milk.
A wacky cake. It's you guys, chat. This is your cake.
Selfish brat. Directly into a cake pan goes a 1.5 cups of flour. A teaspoon of floof soda. One of the reasons this is called a wacky cake is because you don't need a bowl. Though living in the Depression, I think everyone needed a bowl. Cup of sugar. 1/3 cup of cocoa. Then we just mix it with a fork.
Okay.
Now we make 3 wells. I feel like a gardener. Do you guys remember Farmville? Those were the days. Into 1 well goes 2 tablespoons of vinegar. Next, 1/3 cup of oil. And finally, a whole cup of water. Just mix it in the pan. Bake this at 350 for about a half hour. Ooh, it's a cake. Cool completely
and
in
it's
the
good.
pan.
A
For the
wacky
frosting,
cake. Chat,
we
you're
need a cup of
wacky.
powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of cocoa, and
BB
slowly
is
add
not
water
happy with the
until
wacky
thick.
cake.
Beautiful. What? How did that not stick? Are you a witch? Yes, that's a darn good cake.
Well, you know what? BB did not think so. Oh my God, we do not need Jon Stewart right now. All right. We have a wacky cake happening. We have a wacky cake. Farmville, oh my God, that's a throwback. That is in fact a throwback. Okay. I think that is a perfect place for us to wrap up. We got 3 videos done, which means I have enough to get us through until next YouTube stream. I don't have nearly the backlog that I used to have since the baby's been here, but there's just too much to do all the time. But that's okay. That's all right. There's still just 1.5 million things to do as long as I can keep up with stuff. That's what matters. Okay, so to everybody, if anyone has not submitted their room, make sure you're in the Discord. Submit your bedroom to the special spot in the Discord, and I will be doing a room review on Twitch tomorrow, where I can shamelessly mock you in the most loving way possible because I care about you all deeply. Mwah. Thank you for streaming. No, thank you guys for being here. I love and appreciate you all. You guys are wonderful. You're amazing. You know, I genuinely do appreciate you. You guys drive me nuts sometimes, but I do appreciate you. But I hope you guys had a fun time. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I will see you guys over on Twitch tomorrow, and I will see you guys over on Twitch on Sunday. I might, now, War Boss, just saying, there's no guarantee. No guarantee. I might start the Stompa on Sunday. No promises. If I can get my nails done, I mean, I can't get my nails done at my actual nail salon because I'm stuck home, but if I can file them down and make them look all pretty, I will maybe start the Stompa on Sunday. Just saying. Just saying. But Saturday, tomorrow, is going to be the room review. Hope you guys will join the Discord. Just, you know, follow the rules, yada, yada, yada. Love and appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. I'll try to have the Pancreas video out tonight.